Oh, shit. Shit, I did it again. Why am I opening this panel? I wasn't live. I actually started 5 minutes early today. Oh, just noticed that. Thank God. Oh, my God. Hello, everybody. Welcome. That's all right. We only blew 7 minutes, 8 minutes. What is it? It's 3 past now. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another video. Let's leave. Let's go back to where I wanted to intro the video, in the beautiful Crystal Oasis, where night is now fallen and it's nowhere near as pretty here during that time. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, today's a big video, a very, very, very big video. There's like 5 different topics for us to get to. Like 3 pieces of Guild Wars news. I want to cover the end of this Fractal Incursion event, which ends in the next 4 hours. You know, it's funny, we just did the Elite Spec beta, and that came right down to the wire. We had so much to do that. Here, we're right down to the wire of the next beta. We're actually going to talk about a beta in a beta as well, by the way, because the results of the Elite Spec beta have sort of been talked about in a PC Gamer article, which is one of the things I want to talk about here. So while we cover the end of the Quickplay beta, we'll talk about the Elite Spec beta. There was stuff with the Skimmer. There's news about raids and fractals. I didn't know what to do with the thumbnail or the title for this video. There's so much. And also, I want to talk about what I've just been on a 13-day binge doing. What I've been doing the past 13 days. At any point through which we could have talked about this Fractal Incursion thing. And when I say binge, I mean putting like 12-hour days, longer than that some days, back to back to back to back to back to back. It's not related to Guild Wars, so I'm probably going to squeeze it in near the start of this video, and I hope it's not boring to people. It's a long story, but hopefully entertaining. I'll try to tell it in a fun way. But yeah, so let's cover the Fractal Incursion first, I guess. Since that's sort of what I was doing just a second ago. Can I just say as well, welcome to everyone in the live chat. It's good to see you. John as well, already with the 10 memberships. Thank you, man. That's incredible. And Kabads as well, just refreshed his membership. Thanks, guys. Look, I know it's really hard to catch these. You know, I only had this premiered for like 2 hours before going live here. But we're kind of a good moment here. Now that my modding project is over, we're on the cusp of a hell of a lot of streams and things coming, so it should be pretty fun. And for that, I mean, basically the end of this year is going to feel a lot like the end of last year, where we go from a Guild Wars expansion to FF stuff to other games and on and on and on. And also, I want to do, because we've started October now, I want to do Oblivion before Visions of Eternity comes out. I'm calling it October Oblivion. That'll be good, right? Nice and alliterative. Yeah, so, right, Quickplay, yes, is ending. I just talked about all this without clicking the goddamn go live button. Last you saw me was when the event was starting. I've now finished the event effectively, except one fractal as far as I can make out. So they're asking you to gather this dust, fractaling dust. You needed to get 500 for the legendary. If you've forgotten, there's a new legendary gloves that have come in the game. They are not exclusive to this event, by the way. They're permanently in the game. It's just, I think you get them quicker during the event, maybe? Because there's daily bonuses and weekly bonuses that might be going away when this closes down. I'm not sure on that point. But they're like the easiest legendary to get in the game. They're the easiest legendary that Arenanet have ever added. And they're pretty cool. I mean, hopefully when we get them in a minute, we'll see. I've seen other players, while I've been out there in Fractals, using them already. And it is really cool the way it combos with the other weapons and stuff. So I'm excited to get them. I guess, technically, if you credit card farm for like a launch underwater legendary, you know, that's really cheap. Like, what do they sell for these days? I don't even know, really. Like, if I type in Cratekin, the OG for me, so 1,900 gold. I don't know what that is in pounds or dollars or euros or whatever. I guess that's technically easier. Have a real job and then just credit card farm. But anyway, this asks for, I think it's something like 75 fractals, but because there's daily bonuses and weekly bonuses, it's even less. To me, right here at the end of the road, this was not challenging. Like I said, I've just spent the past 13 days binging something else, and I've barely dipped into Guild Wars, it feels like. But I've progressed this real fast, and it's been fun, man. Just my retrospective on this. Obviously, for the beta, they're only asking you to do really low-scale fractals, so there's never any friction at all. They're always easy. I've had runs where, you know, someone's AFK at the start the entire time. and people will like try to kick, but they're not kicking because it's really dragging you down or anything. It's just out of spite that someone's leeching, right? The fact is, you just murder your way through everything, and it's always fine, and it's always easy, and like, so they've been very frictionless. It's just been a social, fun, nice thing. I think Arenanet was smart. I know a lot of people have said, oh, they should have started with T4s available and stuff. I actually think it's better to remind new players and encourage new players. And no, when I say new players, I mean new Fractal players, by the way. You might have played 1,000 hours of Guild Wars before, but just never touched Fractals because you're intimidated by them. I think Arenanet did this in a good way, because all those players that now are trying realize they're not actually scary. And slowly, the matchmaking community can ramp up into the higher tiers and, like, cultivate, you know, ideas of how they ran and stuff. Throwing them into T4s where there is a bit more friction and roles do matter a bit more and all that might have soured people to it. But so I think it was actually quite smart to create a baseline. And I've had fun with it. I put a post up on Blue Sky yesterday with, like, one of my last Fractals. Just talking a bit about combat design. So, like, I noticed there was a Ranger and a Tempest, actually, in my group, and they were trying to play ranged the whole time. It was like a ranged Staff Ellie and a ranged Ranger using his bow. And, you know, I just happened to have Arc on. They were doing no damage at all. But they were pew-pewing their hearts out, you know? They seemed to be playing the game. From their perspective, they thought they were. And I think that's so sad, you know, that Guild Wars combat design is like that. It's only when you take a bit of a break from the game and you just look at just some of the cold, raw facts of, like, what it's like. It's like, you know, this sucks. Like, that Ranger shouldn't be so heavily penalized. And Arenanet's solution to that classically has been, oh, well, we don't bundle DPS meters with the game. And for a long time, they didn't even like them, right? Hide it. Let the community, let ignorance be their shield. But I don't know whether that's a total solution as these games get older and more, you know, developed, and these add-ons do exist, and these add-ons are even embraced by the studio. I don't know. I think it really comes down to the way boons work and the AoE range and stuff. And obviously that's very tied to the server pressure and all this. So I don't know. Anyway, I didn't really make a point. I didn't really have a solution. I was just bitching, really. It sucks that the combat's like this. Hopefully something they can maybe fix in this game, or a GW3 thing. I don't know. I did have a comment from someone saying, oh, the point here is he was able to do it even though he did nothing. And I don't know whether that's really a good point to make. I don't know where that leads design-wise. Like, what are we saying there? The only valid content that should ever be in this game is frictionless content, where someone can sit around scratching their ass and they don't realize that they're... Like, at a certain point, players will want real gameplay. And as soon as you hit that point, this becomes a discussion. So, you know, I don't think it's right to just say, well, it worked for T1 Fractals, that's it, good enough. Anyway, that's some kind of heady stuff. Yeah, it's been fun. I've enjoyed it. I kind of want to finish it. What I am missing is... So there were the world boss things as well. There's a story, apparently. So, speak with gathered allies to hear the plan. And then I think once I've done this story, like the precursor, air quotes, will drop or something from one fractal. And then I do that. It's this, see? It says, while progressing working together, discover the torn gloves. And I think you just get those for free after progressing this. I think the story might have updated a little bit as the week went along. The event went along. So I don't know. We'll play all of that in batch, in bulk, in a minute. And then we'll get on to talk about the Skimmer and all that. Like I said, this is going to be a long video, guys. So what I've been in the habit of was spinning videos out of these streams. Because I'd be doing that like 5 times today, I'm not going to do that. This is going to be one long stream. There's not going to be any like VOD dash videos from this. This is going to be it. Because it's just going to be wild. I don't even know how much energy I'll have when we get to the Skimmer bit at the end. So yeah, okay, I'm really nervous right now. Because I'm about to stop talking about Guild Wars 2 completely. We're going to take a break. And I probably shouldn't be so nervous. I don't know. But I feel like no one's going to give a shit. I guess if you're watching the VOD, skip ahead. But, yeah, so I've been coding and scripting and basically doing art and UI design for the past almost 2 weeks over with Stellaris. So for people that don't know, years ago, over on my collab channel with Matt, I covered a game, a Paradox game called Stellaris. I did a few streams on it as well. I played a little bit of it years ago. I don't really play the game that much, to be honest, at this point. But my plan has been, I wanted to make a few mods to improve it for, like, visibility. And then I wanted to do a Let's Play. Actually, I did a Let's Play. I've already done... You might have seen my Let's Play on it a few years ago. I wanted to do a new and improved, better one based on this mod or that mod. So I've had a few for fun hobby projects that I don't usually spend that long on. I'm very proud of my workshop over on Steam. I've done a few mods for it over the years, but I usually don't talk about it very much because it's that old adage, isn't it, of like people only want to hear about Guild Wars or whatever. But I also just thought, you know, once I've got the collection of 6 or 7 mods that I want to make, once I've got those made and the Let's Plays ready to go, then what I was going to do is what I will do is a mini series where I talk about each mod in turn, and then we just hit up the gameplay. And, you know, I blast you guys with all that fun stuff at that point. I'm making a bit of an exception today, I guess, because I've just been hounding it so much, and I'm really enthusiastic, and I think it's really cool, and I think it's really exciting. I want to share what I've got, and I think it'll be fun, but it'll be quite a long story. So yeah, and I haven't even properly planned this out here. So let's swap here for a second. We're going to stop talking about Guild Wars, and I want to show you guys what I've been doing the past 13 days or so. All right, and we're going to have a bit of a history lesson with this other game. Okay, so Stellaris. So we're currently in Stellaris 4.1. Earlier this year, they did a massive update, the 4.0 update, in which they changed a lot of stuff. So the mod that I've been cramming and working on relentlessly, to the detriment of all other things, relates to one area of the user interface in this game. Let me turn the audio on here as well. In fact, I'll mute Guild Wars. I don't know what you guys can hear at the moment. You actually can't hear anything, can you? You only hear my voice. My high-pitched, screechy voice. Sorry, no, my smooth baritone. Yeah, of course. Right. Oh, you still can't hear it. That's annoying. Let me see here. Somewhere at some point I disabled desktop audio. That's why. Here we go. There you go. All right. Hopefully that's not too loud. You guys in live chat, you'll have to tell me if that's too loud. I've cranked it down a bit. Okay, so obviously I'm not going to explain the whole thing about this game. Maybe you've seen my coverage of it before. But what I want to talk about is this UI here, this specific panel. And if you're sort of squinting and leaning forwards at the moment, especially if you don't even have this stream full screen, then I don't blame you. This is a tiny panel. So this is the planet viewer. And so in this game, you're building an interstellar empire, and your people live on planets. And when you click the planet, you can do lots of different things with it. You can build cities. You can build, you know, mining outposts. You can get technologies that improve it with anti-gravity engineering. You can manage the economy. All your aliens have jobs. Like I have physicists and archaeo engineers and priests and traders. There are armies that can fight. You can set up holdings when you have like an overlord or like a mega corporation is around. There are features on the planet, like there's industrial wastelands here. There's arid highlands, searing deserts, mineral fields, and so on and so on and so on. The planet viewer. This is where a lot of the gameplay happens. A lot of it. And for me, in fact, most of the fun that I ever had playing this game, and it's been a few years since I properly played this, as I say, has been with planets and the aliens. Like, I like that probably more than I like, you know, the ship warfare and stuff, and like the space-based stuff. I really like planet management. So, when the game... So, if you're squinting at this, and you're thinking, oh, it's really small, and what the fuck's going on, and it's just a bomb of information, there's a lot of controversy about this panel, and that controversy stems from the fact that this is kind of an old game engine where they don't really have the ability to scale UI very well. The whole way that the UI is coded is very fixed. And they technically support 720p resolutions. The game came out in 2018, at which point, by the way, I was already playing... I don't know about you guys in chat. I was already playing on a 1440p monitor in 2018. I mean, for years I had been. I mean, Jesus, I got one of those, what, 2014? 13? I remember getting that for Guild Wars. Anyway... 2018, this thing released, and they supported 720p displays. Nowadays, they're still interested in supporting those low resolutions because of the Steam Deck. Steam Deck is at 800. But what that means is everything they make in this game, every panel, even though it should be much bigger and it should show much more art and it should be much more flavoursome and fun, they're all tiny and crushed, okay? So there's that problem. The other problem is this. When, quite often, Stellaris has twice now, Stellaris has undergone two very different leaderships, game directors, teams that are interested in different things. There was the development team that made one style of a planet viewer, which I guess I'll show you. Okay, so let me see. I've got an image slideshow here. So this, okay, is what it originally looked like. Now, if you watch my Let's Play, my original content I did with Matt, you will have seen this. This was the UI that I was learning. And I actually really loved this UI. It was much more simplistic, but it was very, very, very clever. The idea was when you click a planet, you've got all these different boxes, and they represent, you know, the different areas of the world. I have another example here for you. This is probably a better example. And you can see there's these. This is a really blurry image I got off of Google, just for what it's worth. So you can see like those fox people there. Those were your populations, and you could drag and drop them to different areas of the planet. You could give them different buildings to work. So you could say, I want this fox to work in this mine, or I want this fox. And the fox represents a group of like 1 million foxes, right? Because we're dealing with massive scales. Or these guys work in the capital. And the different traits that your aliens had would affect their efficacy in different buildings. It's really elegant. I thought this UI was genius. You can see some of them have got like the yellow and black outlines. Those are like areas that have got problems. They're like that need to be cleared. So like they're wastelands, or there might be swamps or sinkholes or volcanoes. Depending on the kind of thing it is, it might be harder to clear and require different technologies and stuff. It was really clever, very cool. Anyway, it was also very micro heavy and needed work. All right. It wasn't brilliant when you were dealing with hundreds of, you know, even 10 planets at once, and it was quite easy to solve. Okay. So the Stellaris team had a choice. Do we work with this? Do we improve it? Or do we throw it in the bin? And I don't know. I get the feeling there might have been some drama. I really don't know. The original guys that concepted and set all this up were basically shooed out of the building as far as I can see. They were just... like, there's no comments, there's no interviews, there's nothing, but it feels like they were just sort of pushed away. And anyway, the game got a new game director. He was a modder called Wiz, who was modding a different Paradox game, a game called Vicky. I've never played that. But it's, as far as I know, it's very big on like job and economic management and simulation. I've never played it. I don't really understand anything about it. But he came from there, and he came with his Vicky mindset, and he said, I want this for Stellaris. And they nuked this. What you're looking at here, which to me was quite flavorful. This UI, like when you had a small moon, there wouldn't be so many squares. When you had a big planet, there'd be more squares. This was a really cool UI that was filled with, like, you know, you really feel like there, that's a continental world. You've got lots of green fields and stuff. He nuked it for the driest, most spreadsheety looking, like, horseshit UI I've ever seen. I hated it. To this day, I think it was a terrible, terrible, terrible move. Now, the gameplay that came from it was better, and it scaled more out into the galaxy, but they traded away a lot of the flavor, and to me, it like killed my enthusiasm to play the game. And so I had kicking about for this was years ago. So that was the 2.0 patch, right? Well, 2.2, I think technically. So for years, I was thinking, right, when I do my Stellaris Let's Play, I'm gonna have a mod that tries to get this back. Like, I'll have Wiz's gameplay. Obviously, you can't piss against the wind. Right, but I'm going to try to get some of that flavor back. I'm going to try to get some of those visuals back. And, you know, I sat on it and I chewed on it, and I didn't have any skill. Like, GUI scripting and coding and all of that, I didn't really know at the time. So I could do some very, very basic, like, movements of the UI. I couldn't really do very much. But, you know, I had this vague idea of making this mod. And I left it years. So Wiz did that in maybe the early 2020s, maybe around 2020, something like that, I don't know. And so then Wiz left, and we have a new team now. There's a new team. A new team has handled 3.0 forwards, okay? And the new team were happy to stick with Wiz's design. They were perfectly happy with it. And it didn't look, to me, like they were going to change the plan. So here's one of the problems. If you make a big mod, right, for an area of the game, and then because the base game is being developed, when they change it, it kills your mod. It bricks all of your work. So I was thinking, do I really want to make a radical mod about this UI if they're going to change it? And I said, no, they're never going to change it. It's all good. So last summer, after I finished recording Zeus, maybe after FF6, somewhere around then, last summer, I sunk a sick amount of time learning how to basically code their GUI. All right, I'm not to be too self-aggrandizing, but I could genuinely do this as a job. Like I know it very well now, and I learned a shit ton last summer. And I built a huge mod. In fact, let me go get a screenshot of it real quick. I'll show you guys my workshop page. Well, okay, this is a different workshop page, but fuck it, I'll get it up anyway. Let me see here. Let me see. I'll go add source, image. I hope this is interesting, by the way. This, here you go. Okay, last summer I made this mod, right? This is called WP's New Worlds, right? But basically, that image there, that planet viewer, I made that, right? And I was happy with it, and I thought, okay, cool, that's one of my things. I'm getting closer to the Stellaris Let's Play, all good. That was last summer. This Christmas, the new team, Eladrin's team, they said, oh yeah, we're changing the planet viewer. They said we're doing a big thing. It's called 4.0. We're changing it. We're breaking it. We're doing a whole new thing. And that's what this is. So basically, everything I did last year just went in the bin, and I was not happy about it. I was really, really, really not happy about it. Partly because, you know, it's all this unpaid labor, blah blah blah. Even as a hobby, it was a lot to do, right? But second, I don't really think they had a good idea. They've created this thing called zones or district specializations, which is just unnecessary convolution. I won't get into the design and stuff, but I'm not a fan really of 4.0. And they bricked the mod I made. So 4.0 came out, and there was a huge controversy about it because the panel is so small. They now have so many mechanics loaded into this, so fucking much going on, and it's conforming to these tiny 720p resolutions. Everyone, not just like nerds like me that were messing with the user interface in mods, everyone was like fucking furious about it. So they said, okay, we're going to do some experiments over the summer. We're going to break it. We're going to rip it apart. So this happened over this Christmas, around January, February, March or something. And I was like, well, I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to remake my mod only for them to break it over the summer and then remake my mod again. So I've waited and waited and waited. And so anyway, 2 weeks ago, I finally got on it. I fixed it up, basically. So I want to show you guys what I made. So this is the tiny-ass little panel that they've got, where you have to squint. You can barely see anything. There's barely any flavor. I'm gonna flip us back over to Guild Wars as background entertainment now. I'm gonna close the game, and I'm gonna launch the mod that I've just made. And there's nothing really... No reason I'm doing this except just to show you how proud I am of what I did, and you know, the work I put into it, because I do think it's really cool, and I'm very, very excited to do the Let's Play. There are some other bits of this story that I'm kind of skipping at the moment. By the way, I'm a little bit nervous right now because we don't even have Guild Wars up. Sorry guys. There you go, Guild Wars. I'm a little bit nervous right now relaunching the game. I've got an issue with my PC where whenever I launch Steam games, sometimes it just freezes and I have to restart the whole PC. It's Steam being a bitch. I don't know why. So hopefully Steam doesn't do that. All right, I'm relaunching right now. Sorry, I'm also looking over at chat. Sorry guys, I'm really bad when I'm on a bit of a... I hate the word rant. It's not a rant. I'm not ranting. I'm just in a conversation. I'm really bad at looking at chat. How is it coded? Is it scripted in some language? Yeah, they basically have their hard code and like the deeper things about the engine that they don't expose. But to all of their devs and the community, the modders, we all get the same tools on the higher level. which all their script works in. So I don't know if it's very applicable to any other programming language. I mean, sometimes real languages do exist with this, like HLSL, high language shader language, high level shader language. There are some things, but mostly it's like in-house stuff. I've been told it's very similar to Lua. Anyway, okay, so here's my mod. Ready? So my advantage is I just built this for 1440p. I made sure it fits into 1920, but at the end of the day, I made it for my Let's Play. I made it for my videos, for this channel. I don't need to make it smaller than that. So mine's big. It's real big. Okay, so I've just loaded in a random empire. I don't know what we're going to get. Okay, we got a subterranean thing. So this is my UI. And the amount of shit that is going on here. Okay, so first of all, we have this left element. Okay. I wanted to talk about this last summer, by the way. But I don't think I did as good job last summer. Basically, I had to rebuild the entire thing this year. But certain elements, certain like designs I had, and certain like art I had done, like this emblem here that says Empire Capital, that was art I made last year. So in some ways, I could leverage what I'd already used. It was kind of weird. It was like there were two developers on it. There was me from this year and then me from last year. Like sometimes I'd get to a bit in the project and be like, oh, I got to do all this. And it's like, oh, no, I've already done that. Yeah, I got you. You know, it's quite cool. So anyway, so the left section is like a big thing that I added. The thing is, most people that do... if you try to diversify planets in this game, the vanilla art is just this bit up at the top where it says colonize. But there are supposed to be like alien cities that appear there, and there's lots of layers that dynamically come in, whether the planet's devastated, how many population lives there. So like if only a few people live there, you just get a few small huts. If lots of people live there, it'll be a big city. So this is a very dynamic element. And so if you try to do a mod where you have like really loads of new types of planets for people to live in, which is something I want, it's really hard to fuck with this. You kind of need to make custom art, and I don't have any skills for that. All I can do is AI generate art, right? So I couldn't really do anything with this. So last year, my eureka moment was to say, what I can do is just build my own UI where I leave that top area alone, the city area. I leave that alone. Just let all the paradox stuff be handled there. I'll do my own, and I'll produce my own art. I'll generate my own art that can be very diversified. I'll call it like the surface view. So that's what I added here on the left. And, you know, I've animated it. I've made sure that your aliens appear in front of it. The class text is all dynamic. I added this new element here, which is like how old the world is, like whether it's a new world or an ancient world or like an established colony and stuff. I added some art underneath the district building area. I got the building graphics in the original mock-ups. One of the things I always hated, right, in that original mock-up, you can see you've got the building and then you have the planetary environment behind it. Ever since Wiz came along, they've just nuked that. They killed it. Even though the assets are still there, everything's just floating in empty, like, black boxes or, like, wireframes. It's just ugly. Basically, the game was made by, like, nerds that want to play it in spreadsheets, basically. And I'm like, where's all the flavor gone? Where's all the actual, like, artistry gone? So I wanted to bring that back. And so I have... I added a weather system as well. You might have heard me talk about this. Let's generate a new planet that's not subterranean. The fact that that's subterranean, it's got an underground sea. I actually kind of want to improve it so that all the buildings and stuff also appear underground. So let's just generate a new... do you know what? I could have just played an Alien Empire. That probably would have been fine. So here we got a pretty bog standard world here, right? If I could run a command to apply one of my weathers, I can make it rain, right? And you see it all tinted slightly because it's supposed to have got a bit cloudier there. You know, and now there's actually rain coming down. I built an options menu. This is all entirely custom by me. All the text, all the tooltips, everything, down to even the fact that that's an orange line that says classic scan lines, and then it goes to a new line and it says stuff. And so I wrote all of this here. For example, this is an option for scan lines, and I've written the planet viewer in original Stellaris was made to appear as though we were viewing alien landscapes through a digital monitor. A part of this effect was the inclusion of CRT scan lines, which during 1.0 and played at 720p resolutions were very evident. In recent years, and particularly at higher resolutions, the scan lines have become less perceptible. In modern patches, Stellaris, and that's 4.0, Stellaris has dropped the shape of the monitor altogether. I've recreated the effect and included this settings for those who enjoy the fancier classic look, or you can disable it for clearer planet visuals. So I set that up and you can toggle that. And the orange outline appearing there or turning off, the fact that the lines appear on the button and then don't. Like the amount of stuff. So here I've made it so you can toggle weather into, like if you only want rain to appear on the left and you want everything else to have high clarity visuals, or maybe you only want it at the top. And all the logic for how this works. I also have a thing, so this star on the panel, that's not usually there. I've done it, so this is literally, there's a Class G star here. Which means that, so I've made it, you can actually see the star in the sky. But also I have tints for the views. So if I hop to another empire, these guys have a Class M giant, right? Oh no, this is just a Class M. Which means the whole panel is red tinted, right? So I implemented these tints, and I had to find ways to get, like, the assets just right, so I wasn't streaming too much data to the workshop. So actually, this tint is just a tiny little translucent square I made, but I scale it in the GUI code, right? And you can toggle the tints on or off, so maybe some people think, ooh, that's ugly. I don't want to, because, you know, maybe it's not realistic or whatever if you're a purist, so I let people turn it off. Back last summer when I made it, I had comments about the visibility of like some of these icons and things at the bottom. So I added options so you can darken the panel and you can bring it back. This options menu was one of the last things I did, by the way. And yeah, like every planet, like the art now is different on the left because this is an arid world. So like there's all logic hooked up to this. The new shit they've added with the zones and stuff, this was a nightmare. This was so hard to figure out. Everyone wants compatibility with more building slots and stuff, so I had to make sure all the little sections scroll. You know, so that if someone I won't, on my Let's Play, I'm not going to have more buildings. It's just bloat and it just breaks the balance of the game. But for the people that want to do that, I've added scrolling sections. There's honestly so fucking much. Also, there's 4 tabs. This is just the first tab. This is the second tab, the surface tab. I've added like plant art down here. I totally redid how the portraits appear here, so again they look big. I made all the planetary features bigger. I added this whole section up at the top so you can see it has like a standard biosphere, or if it has dangerous wildlife, which is compatibility with one of my other mods. Another mod I made was this. It's called Mysterious Worlds, and it changes the way that you get deposits. This whole UI I built, all the scrolling, the clouds, the planet appears bigger or smaller based on the world size. And that used to be a totally separate GUI and a totally separate mod, but I've integrated them together this time by having like a library. So all my mods require a thing I've called WP's library, so I can integrate stuff together. On the army tab down here, I have an army attachments mod, and that's all integrated now. We can assign a general here. I made an army screen, which I posted on one of the Discords, and people said looked really good. So this is my army screen. Someone said it looks like Yu-Gi-Oh! So you get, you know, the 2 generals facing off, the troops on the left, the troops on the right. Some of this, for the Guild Wars 2 viewers watching this, you're not really going to care or think it means much, but this is very, very, very different to how it looks in vanilla. I made sure each entry has like a little shadow so that there's like a bit of a 3D effect. I made this like floor graphic. Well, kind of, actually. I found this is the galactic resolution floor, but I've blown it up and moved it to a different size and stuff. You know, and getting all the general details there. Holdings tab's pretty boring. There's not much really to talk about there. The economy tab I didn't do too much with, but made it bigger. Basically, this was a huge effort, guys. And it's not just like planets people live on. It's like, if I click this is a barren world. Nobody lives on this. But getting all the art set up for that, the art for the stars, and I have like weathers that can appear on the stars. Well, not weathers, but like, you know, like this space dust effect. And there's like thousands, well, not thousands. There's a lot of different kinds of worlds. You know, there's molten worlds, and there's asteroids, and there's special shrouded worlds, and there's worlds that only appear when the end game crises appear. I previously had generated a bunch of my own art. There was a guy who said, hey, I made a bunch. Do you want it? And he helped me out. This scrolling effect, I had to like find a way to make the textures perfectly loop. So like I created a mirror image of the art so that it would like loop onto itself, which can look a bit weird sometimes, but was the best I can do since I don't have, you know, Photoshop skills. Here, this is a desert dust world. I have events that apply the weathers and like another settings menu so that people can control them. So that's a dust world that is being tinted orange. You know, and if I take all my features off here, that's how it would look. But, you know, so you just get like this incredible diversity and lots of flavor and, you know, more, I would say, than even 1.0 had. Here's a tomb world. Oh, but it's called a tomb moon. I set that up so that it wouldn't always be a world. If you get a really giant world, it's called like a super world. Or if it's an asteroid. I've set up habitats. I doubt you'll see any of those, unfortunately. And ring worlds. And they all just work, right? So basically, I'm not joking. I've done a lot of shit here. And I'm really excited to LP it, because that is, honestly, this is a Gaia world from one of the fallen empires. I really want to show you guys a ring world or something. No, this galaxy didn't spawn them. I will show you a habitat, because why not? And so there you go, really. That's ran over, I suppose. Let's play, I don't know, the Kynor. I love the Kynor. And then let's play, let's change that origin to being Void Dwellers. There's Relic Worlds as well, which I could show off with Remnants. There you go, Void Dwellers. We'll take a trait off of them so that we can actually play. And, yeah, I don't know. I could talk a lot more about the actual scripting and all of that, but, you know, I feel like this is tenuous at least. But yeah, so I just and I'm quite happy that I managed to get this made in less than 2 weeks, like rebuilding the whole thing. There you go, there's a habitat. This is a fully artificial world, and you'll see that all the building backgrounds are different and stuff. And you got the little zone specialization there. These are solar farming bays. You could build all your different buildings and things on them. And yeah, there you go. Oh, something. Well, yeah. I don't know. The level of polish is astounding. Thank you. I'm not doing this for compliments or anything necessarily, but I did just want to show off what I've been doing. It's weird because over in the Discord, I've got to say, I've been in a lot of different modding Discords, and I have to say, 9 times out of 10, they are filled with terrible people. Just horrible, nasty losers. Nerds that are desperate to validate how smart they are and how superior they are to the plebeian users, you know. The fact is, people go on the workshop, they don't read the documentation, they hit bugs because they don't read the documentation. All they ask is, do you want to have, is this compatible with this? This is bugged. Is this compatible? They don't say thank you. They treat you like you're their employer, when at the end of the day, you're not. You know, like, and so most modding Discords are just filled with jaded, salty nerds that hate interacting with the communities and have no social skills. And they're also sneering and condescending and arrogant and horrible to their users. I have to say, Stellaris is no exception. But for me personally, I've been all right. Most people have been nice. Yeah, you don't really get much kudos or gravitas for any of this. Mostly it is people just said, like, one of the comments I got, so I released this yesterday, and like one of the comments I got was someone saying, by the way, these settings, if you play in multiplayer, one guy's settings affects everyone's. So like I'd have to add a bunch of logic and move it to the country level and all this shit if I didn't want that to be the case, or just bind it just to the host. You'll get comments just about that. They won't say, oh wow, good job at this or that. They'll just say nice mod, and that'll be it, you know. And mostly people just want to talk to you about technical issues that they might have. So that does suck a little bit, but overall, you know, people are nice, people are friendly, people are supportive. And you know, it is what it is. Mostly I just want to make a cool Let's Play one day, and this is a part of it. I will say, if Eladrin's team fucks with this planet viewer again, if they break it all again and move it again, then it's over. I'm never updating. My Let's Play will be on version 4.1 or whatever. You know, it will never go any further than that. So yeah, there's a little bit of what I've been doing. And I know you're thinking it. Yes, it's stupid and it's way too much effort. And it's not necessary for the LP. It's just not. But for me, it's part about the LP, but it's also part just learning a skill. Because, you know, I've got this... I've got real anxiety and real... bad vibes about being stuck in a rut and, you know, not learning and not doing new things and not... So, you know, so it is nice to actually learn a skill and to learn a couple of things, you know. and to just do something artistic, you know, because for a long time I got that feeling and that vibe from, you know, making YouTube videos and stuff, but I'm not sure I do so much now, you know. Right, okay, let me turn that off. There you go. Let me turn off desktop audio again. Let's get back to the world of Tyria, a very different game. It's over, guys. You made it. We're here. Let's talk about the faux fire. Benny says Guild Wars 2 viewers care about UI design. We keep complaining about. You know, I think my desire for a grand strategy game from Paradox to be full of flavor and to be full of art comes from Guild Wars. I think it is Guild Wars that's done to me. I think the Guild Wars UI is so good. You know, if you talk about Guild Wars UI to Guild Wars 2 players, all they want to talk about is the fact that it's not customizable. But, you know, I've always much respected Arenanet's stance and implementation with that. You know, you can customize certain things, like you can move the minimap or the pie window up and down and stuff. But I think they did an incredible job, and I think they've been really, really good at like not blowing it over the years and keeping it readable. And you know, there's a certain thing that happens when people, you know, play a game for a certain amount of time. They don't care about the keys jingling anymore. They don't care about the visuals or the aesthetics. They just care about the gameplay, and those are the kind of opinions you'll see advocated for on forums and stuff by the more dedicated players. But that doesn't mean the aesthetics aren't important, right? And for me, it's like, you know, if I want to do a let's play on that game, I want people to be able to sit and watch the video and actually be engaged by it, right? I don't want them to be watching a guy fiddle around with tiny little numbers on what's essentially a glorified spreadsheet. That's not going to be fun to watch. You know, my golden rule is don't make content you wouldn't watch for yourself. And I wouldn't want to watch that. I don't want to watch vanilla Stellaris gameplay. I want the UI to look nice. And the planet viewer is like the UI in the game, really, you know. Even everything I was just ranting about there still only scratches the surface. You know, I had to set shit up for when things are being terraformed, when you're viewing primitives, when it's colonized versus not colonized. You saw a little bit of that there. When there's an archaeological site there. You know, there's so many variants and conditions and things to think about. So yeah. All right. Okay, what's this? In what way was he mentioned? By the way, right again, I think WP missed your comment. Yeah, I have missed messages. Let me scroll up here a little bit. The fantasy of space exploration using Excel. Yeah. Wait, what? Just tuned in. Did somebody tell WP he was mentioned in the Game Developer Podcast? Okay, first of all, I don't know what that is. Oh god, I'm so out of touch. What? What is that? You agree there's a purity to it? You think the action bar is very clean? Your main gripe is the buff bar, the usage of buff for certain mechanics. Actually, I agree with you completely. I think that Guild Wars... Like, if I was doing UX for Guild Wars 2, I think there needs to be a look at what is a boon, what is a buff, and what is... Like, basically, I would add a new section. It would be discrete, where certain persistent elements, like food, like this celebration boost, like reinforced armor, and I don't necessarily just mean everything that's color-coded in this way, though that would be a good start, right? But these persistent things, I would move these down below the health orb. Now, I know that that overlaps with the XP bar, but I think there's a way you could make it work anyway. And so, like, persistent buffs, things that you're not looking at moment to moment, because they're not falling off or coming in quickly, I think do deserve their own section down here. And I think that would clean banners, right? When you get banners, I think that would clean that up a good amount. But you know, Guild Wars is very clever. You know, if I give myself might or whatever, Jesus, I actually cannot do that without energy, without getting my filled on this current setup. I don't get might just from oh, I do actually. No, I don't. Reach if this is activated in range of your spear, of course. Yeah, it's an augment. Jesus, it's almost like this desert has nothing alive in it. Who would have thunk it? Am I right, guys? Right, so like the white trims denoting the duration of the buffs. Like, we just take that for granted. You don't think about it, right? But I actually think it's really, really clever UX. I really do. And like, it relates directly to the shape of the boons, you know? That they're not square. They're not circles. They're not squares. They're like house shapes. And that lets you see really clearly when that white trim is closing down, you can see because it's coming to the point at the top. But they still have the square shape everywhere else so that they sit side by side next to each other. Like, it's very clever. And you'll notice these lower ones that aren't designed to have the trim, they're square on the top so that the two layers sit together. There's a lot of little things like that. It's like, you know what? They really had some talent when they were making this. But yeah. Oh, yeah. And of course, yeah, the hero panel, you're absolutely right. I mean, I've ranted about that a great many times. I don't know whether I would really call it... I mean, yeah, it's UI, isn't it? But the organization of a lot of this stuff... Again, in some of the recent streams and things, in the Skimmer stream, which we'll talk about very soon, in the Skimmer stream, wasn't there a thing where, like, a couple of new things had appeared? One of them looked like a calendar. And then the calendar's very exciting to me, because if it's an in-game, like, event timer type thing, that would be really, really cool. Or like a meet-up thing for raid groups, for your guild, for when guild missions happen and stuff. All of that shit would be amazing. I heard some speculation that they also might just be dev tools, but I don't know. I don't think you would put so much effort into it. I think it would be a panel a lot like Arc or whatever for your dev tools. It would just be hanging over the top. But yeah. Okay, so right. I want to hear what this podcast thing was. Whoever typed it, I guess, isn't here now. Could be a place for all the dailies. Yeah, exactly. Dailies as well. Dailies, weeklies, all that stuff would be very good. A lot of it says, tell us a bit of the sausage factory. How does the modding work? Is it some kind of scripting language? No, I would talk about that. I'd love to talk about that because I could talk a lot. What I kind of want to do is on WoodenPotatoes 2, a little like modding guide series, which literally no one's going to care about that currently really watches the channel, but it would be a big help to that scene. It really would. If you want to learn how to mod in that, basically you have to ask in Discords where you get sneered at and told that your question isn't valid for X, Y, and your question probably isn't valid, right? But they're not very friendly environments. They're not inviting environments. They're really not. Or you go to the wiki where they have some attempt to explain, but it's shit like, you know, if you're a normal human being, you're not a nerd, and you don't have like a comp sci background or anything like that, which I don't. When you read guides like that, you don't realize how hyper ultra specific everything is, right? Most people, like, the way we talk, the way that we think, the way that we operate, there's a lot of like vibes-based assumptions that are happening in communication and in what we read, but it's not that. It's like, it's down to the fucking word. Like, one of the things I needed to make my planet view to make it work at all was utilizing a tool that is described in about 6 words on the wiki, right? The wiki will explain that it exists, and it's supposed to be like a guide for new players or for new modders or whatever. But it was written by a guy who knows a lot, so he just assumes you'll get the power of it when you won't. Like, I just talked all about how I had to remake that mod for 4.0 just over these past 13 days. It's actually not the first time I remade that mod. When I was first developing it last summer, I had a whole methodology because I thought certain things were impossible. I thought custom elements couldn't have logic applied to them. And, you know, I was posting about it and, like, saying, here's what I've done, and I was talking about my methodology, and people were giving me, like, cursory thumbs up and saying, like, yeah, good job. And it was only... And I built this whole fucking thing, this crazy, incompatible, data-heavy mess, right? Because I thought something was impossible. And then I realized it's possible. And I was like, what the fuck? Why didn't anyone tell me this? Like, what? I had given it to, like, a really prolific GUI modder to check some stuff, and even he hadn't said to me, hey, by the way, this is overly complicated. It's like, you have to figure it all out on your own, and if you don't scrutinize that one sentence really closely, that's it. So I had to rebuild it after that, because I was like, well, obviously I'll use the better methodology, and so, like, and that's why it took a long time to make initially. But yeah, basically their guides are not very good, and like the weird thing so I think a video series would be good, you know, with a human being that knows how to communicate, not to, you know. I think I know how to communicate. The problem is, so I reckon I could do a good series on it and explain, and there I'll get into how the sausage is made. But the downside to all of that is I don't really like video guides. I really hate them, actually. You know, like, you don't watch me doing reshade guides for Guild Wars 2 anymore, right? You don't see me doing add-on guides, Blish guides, Nexus guides. I mean, I'll talk about it in a cursory way, but I won't... It's because I kind of hate that shit. I like text guides. So, I don't know. I'm kind of both worlds for that at the moment. You know, I'm a bit of a hypocrite in a way. Ian says, I've been learning recently and you had the exact same experience. Yeah, believe me, I know exactly how you feel. I know exactly how you feel. And people are very, very, very snooty. But, you know, you got to have a bit of a thick skin with some things, and you've just got to... If you ask someone an innocent question and they condescend you, fucking tell them, hey, don't condescend me. You know, let's be... Because at the end of the day, a lot of them are just... I really think a lot of it, in those communities, I'm not talking so specifically about Stellaris, but I hit this a lot when I was doing FF12 as well. It's just... They don't really have anything else. Here's my interpretation, all right? The kind of person who's obsessively modding an old game and hidden in like a very fringe modding Discord for like old things or whatever, they probably don't have much going on. So the fact they have this skill, this talent at this one thing, they want to leverage that and they want to talk about that and they want to point out how much better that makes them than the users a lot. And really that's all it comes down to, I think. It's just a lot of insecurity from a lot of people. God. Anyway. Good afternoon, Silver. It's good to see you, man. Oh, speaking of Silver, well, Silver's not actually with us in this wing at the moment, but I've also been doing Mount Barrier in Guild Wars, by the way. In fact, my next session is at 7 today. It's currently nearly 4. So very soon. We've beat Decima now, and we're on to Greer. God. The fucking intro to Greer. I mean, what is that? We're like climbing on a cliff to jump in to start the fight. Oh my god, so annoying. We're doing Condi strat, so I can't play Spellbreaker this time. I'm really out of practice on Willbender. I completely suck at it. So I think I'm going to play Scourge today. Scourge is super easy. And has the advantage of being able to bring Corrosive Poison Cloud, which I think might help a lot on Greer. Ostensibly, we already have the support set up to block the projectiles and everything, but you know, having another source might be good. So I'm gonna run that by my raid leader today, and we'll see how that goes. To be honest, I've been really distracted by all this other stuff the past like 3 sessions. So I'm glad to... It's like I've had an itch that I've needed to have scratched since 4.0 came out, and it's finally been scratched. It's finally done, right? So we can get back to this. All right, so here we go. Section 2. Let's begin. I want to do the story for the Fractal Incursion thing. Let's go in and just see what they have to say. In theory, guys, all I have to do is see the story and then play like 2 quick play fractals. And then we get our legendary gloves, and we can oogle them and see how they feel. And that might be fun, right? So, here I am running into this room, thinking that that's where the story starts, but it's not, is it? It's over here. So let's see, quick play beta. Let me just review what we have. Starter equipment vendor. Gave me a chest of starter equipment. So by the way, so here's all the loot I've collected as this has gone along. And I haven't really opened any of the boxes because I thought it might be fun to do. Inventory management's fun to watch, right, guys? Right? Yeah, I have 110 encryptions. But, like, no keys with which to... I mean, a couple of keys, I guess 8 keys. Very weird. I mean, surely this has affected the market for these things. I mean, it blows my mind I can get 19 gold for that. They've given me some random ascended stuff, like I got this Sheriff Star. I don't know. Here's the token trader. Yeah, they've given me some tokens, right? So I got armor tokens and some other things, which let me get some random exotic gear, which I don't care to have. But I guess for new players, that's nice. And then, yeah, I guess there's just these guys, right? So thank you for coming to the aid of the Mist Interior Hero. I'll assist in any way. I'm ready to proceed. What's the next step? By clearing fractals and combating the effects of the incursion's interior, you can restore stability to the boundary between worlds. To hasten this, we've prepared a new entryway to the mists. A new entryway? Yes, the Fractal's Quickplay entrance will match you with a group of like-minded heroes. To ensure success, I will also endeavour to lend what aid I can to you and your allies. Okay, that's good. Let's get to it. Now, we asked all this about who he was and what's going on last time, so we don't have to worry about that. Hey, Alkane with the 5 members. Thanks very much, man. Much appreciated. Always a pleasure. How can I help? Let's talk about the incursion. I'll relay what I understand. Yeah, we already did all of this with Frode. So sorry, what? Working together. Complete a Fractal of the Mist in Quickplay mode and loot the final treasure chest. Oh, so we got to do one. Okay, let's run on in. Let's give it a shot. Oh, I'm appearing offline apparently. Here we go, guys. Sink in. Go for the snipe. I can get the gloves already. Really? Tulip says every time you watch people fighting Greer, it looks like a hell world of a boss. We've only done 1 day pulling him so far. And there are a few things I don't really like. There's a green mechanic that comes up where you're supposed to not overlap the greens or you get defeated. Like at Ceres. But the way they've got it designed is the greens spawn at staggered rates, right? So a green will spawn and then another green will spawn a few seconds later. And because that happens, the greens don't end at the same time. And because they don't end at the same time, you can stack them. Because you're not in 2 at once, because they're technically finishing at different moments. So it's like the fight clearly is supposed to have a mechanic, but then you just ignore the mechanic. And it's like, stuff like that just feels really weird to me. Also, so Greer has like this crazy, massive purple visual blob of death around his feet. It's like one of the most obscene, biggest visual like tells that you can get, right? It screams, don't stand on Greer. Don't be anywhere near Greer. Get away from Greer's feet. Do not be in his hitbox. Except you can be in his hitbox. It's like a tiny little bit of poison damage or some shit. Like, it's like nothing. Like, in the strategy we're using, regularly has us just running through him. Not dodging through him. Not you know, trying to proc evades or blocks or invulns or anything. Just walk through him. Just walk through the Hellstorm. And it's like, why is it like that? And the spawning for these bosses, Arenanet need to standardize that. It's so bad. Decima was annoying enough, right? Decima has you standing. First of all, Decima spawns ages away from you, right? So you have to start on a mount so that you can begin on your Raptor so you can close the gap quickly. Or your Roller Beetle so you can close the gap quickly or whatever, right? And that's annoying enough. I don't think that should be a thing. It's frustrating to sit on your Raptor and not know if you're in the right elemental attunement underneath or the right weapon set underneath, you know, for your opener or whatever. And we had lots of times where we would have a pull on Decima and then we'd say, oh no, just GG, just wipe. And we would lose like 180 seconds of our lives because we have to run back in, we have to get back in position, we have to do the countdown again, blah, blah, blah. Because someone was on the wrong weapon set underneath the Raptor, underneath whatever mount that they had to idle on. It's like, I don't, like, we shouldn't be doing with this arena. Keep it fucking simple, keep it standardized. Someone presses F and the boss spawns next to you, right? Easy. Just do that every time. I don't want to glide in. I don't want to be fighting over the edge of a pit where someone's going to fall because they fat finger, including me, by the way. I can do that. I don't want to have to mount in. Just press F to spawn the boss and everyone can stand there, right? Press F, boons get ripped, the boss starts. So Decimal's bad enough. Greer is 100 times worse because the community strats that people seem to have settled on involve, like, standing on some insane cliff a mile away so that you can spawn right where the ad is so that Greer will run over at the right time. Oh my god, fuck all of this. It's the worst thing, man. And I know it sounds like I'm being really picky and stuff, but look, when you're doing like 100 pulls, it's really annoying to lose like 40 seconds, 50 seconds, 60 seconds more every pull because you have to get into position, cheesing and climbing up on walls and stuff. Like, just not fun. So, I don't know, man. It's just that thing of Arenanet don't have the chops. They just don't have the chops for that kind of content. I'm sorry. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe Ura is really good, and the LM and stuff. I have to say, you know, you can go watch my videos. The Ceres LM and Embodiment of Sin was really fun last year. I had a lot of fun making that video. HTCM before that was really fun as well. So far, this wing isn't impressing me. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be a Debbie. I don't. But if you're looking for that experience, it's much better to play FF14 or World of Warcraft. Arenanet, they're just not up to it. Maybe they will be, you know, as time goes forwards. And they seem to care about it. So hopefully they learn and we move forwards year on year. But that's my opinion of Mount Burial so far. Nuno says, hey, just returning. I don't know what I should do first. What one expansion should I get? Secrets, Janthir Wilds, or Visions of Eternity? It depends what you care about. What do you care? Do you care about the story? So start at the start of the story with Secrets of the Obscure. Or the new story, let me put it that way. Do you care about mechanics? Now that's a tough question. If someone cares about mechanics, which of these 3 expansions do they like the most? There we go. Okay, we got that done. We got our Fractaline dust done. Oh, there you go. I need 3 more dusts, so we'll do another one. It makes me laugh how quickly people have learned to leave the fractals now, by the way. Like, they zip out of those parties fast. Really fast. Synogen, did I mention what I've been doing the past few weeks? Yes. Watch, like, the first hour of this video. And we're only an hour and 8 in. That's the classic, innit? As soon as you stop talking about something, someone comes and asks. Glover says, in my opinion, Wing 8 instance just feels off. It's like a story mission repurposed for a raid. Well, it is, isn't it? But Ceres was a story mission repurposed for a strike/raid, wasn't it? Ceres was the same. HTCM was the same. Harvest Temple was the same. I don't think that repurposing is what's at fault. What I'm very excited, though, guys, is there is a blog post about strikes and raid unification, and I'll be talking about it on this video very soon. In fact, we might do that as the next topic. What do you guys think? That might be cool. And we'll see what Arenanet have to say there. But in terms of the actual just boss design, so the other thing about Greer is it looks crazy and chaotic, but I feel like we're progressing pretty quick. Like, I don't know, you can get the first 30% off of Greer really quick. I don't know, maybe the fight changes a lot later. Can I give you an AI summary of the first hour? Sure. In it, we talked about Stellaris. I don't know. That's not a very good AI summary, is it? Well, it's all right. What was the description? Positive and non-committal. All right, I did your thing. Now what? He won't speak to me now. How do I get into the instance? I thought there was going to be like dialogue. Oh, here we go. Let's do this. Let's check we actually have dialogue on. Because I swear I heard there's some new law books or something in here. Hello, Miss Stranger.
Your strength befits the title of hero. The turmoil of the mists is lessened, but not yet subdued. I ask you to continue your efforts. Resolve fractals and raise up your fellows to meet this challenge.
Oh, what? Your NPC dialogue volume isn't on. The NPC dialogue triggered instantly. I've missed it already. What? Oh, shit. Yeah, he was talking just now, guys. Here. He says, what a strange thing to have found. Perhaps this is a small piece of fortune among the disturbance you face. Confer with the others and myself, and let us turn this lost shell into a tool fit for a hero's purpose. Yeah, there you go. So, I found something in a fractal, I guess. Oh, here you go. We found the Mist Grasper Gloves box. Which I guess is the precursor. Oh, they actually don't look too bad. I don't know what I'm expecting from skins at this point. But okay, thank you. Especially nondescript skin, small skins like gloves on an Asura. I mean, there's only so many ways they can diversify those, right?
Good use for
Oh,
this.
I wish I didn't open that. Oh, well, is it all salvageable? Is it salvageable? No. Of course not. All right, so I got the gloves. So now what? Check in with the Mist Stranger and your allies. So there's the dispatch Fractal Incursion. I don't know if these were here already. The ongoing mist disturbances known as Fractal Incursions are threatening innocents, and Astral Ward members in the field should be aware and prepared, if selected, to take part in an intervention operation. Impact. Creatures originating from fractals are appearing from portals. Stave off attacks. Select members will be recruited to restabilize fractals. Frode is overseeing the task from Lion's Arch. We might have read that last time. That doesn't seem very new. Or illuminating. Okay, notes on the Mist Grasper relic continued. Hold on, so let's read the first one over here.
The restoration of the artifact you discovered proceeds apace with resolution in the mists. A welcome victory draws close, hero. Those of us here will lend what assistance we can.
Did I see... Why does it sound like someone's talking in the distance? Did I see the recent trailer showcasing new armor sets from VOE? Actually, no. I didn't even know about that. I've got all this shit to talk about here today. I didn't even see that. Confer with Mist Stranger about the end of the crisis. So I guess he'll proc when I step away from him and then back again. So let's just try to lean over to this table here. There we go. The gloves recovered by the Wayfinder are a fascinating discovery. They are almost corroded to the point of destruction by the fractal environment, but they appear to have only reached that state after surviving the creation and collapse of countless fractal environments. For an item to endure even a single iteration of collapse would be remarkable. The current Fractal Incursion operation presents a related opportunity. The Wayfinder has discovered fractaline dust produced when closing fractals, and our analysis confirms that introducing it to the gloves with controlled spells can reverse their corrosion. Vivien would prefer to inter the gloves immediately, but I advocate instead for continuing to repair them. Wait, who is I? Oh, that's Archivist CL. Although we are not in the habit of assigning equipment according to the Finder's Keeper's principle, the Wayfinder's history of responsible and effective relic handling suggests that they can best put them to use. P.S. For lack of an identifiable creator to supply a name, Frode has dubbed the relic the Mist Grasper, which we'll use going forwards. Yeah, I wonder what its true name is and who originally made it. It's actually really kind of captivating, the idea that something can survive the fractals that isn't us or Dessa or Consortium or whatever. Mist Grasper's previously reported endurance of mist phenomena is a side effect of their enchantment and design. Sorceress analysis suggests that the gloves were crafted as manipulation tools for Mist environment, a means to touch the building blocks of creation. Oh my god, did they come from Lord Odrin? That would be amazing. Or the Hall of the Heroes? If functioning as intended, they could draw in samples of Mist's matter for later release. I suspect that this may have been for research purposes, but the current environment and depths that the Wayfinder is known to explore, it presents significant combat option. Bluntly, to store and later deploy Mist Pocket Reality Dissonance, colloquially Agony. I admit the idea of cutting a foe to bits with the edge of a collapsing reality is a romantic one. Wow. Debates on the relationship. So hold on. They're saying... So the gloves can store and deploy Agony? Does that not suggest they might be Massarts? Origin as well? Or what the Massart called Agony? I don't know. Or was Spectral Agony technically a different thing, right? Because obviously the recent patches went into how that was invented. Debates on the relationship between the fractal phenomena and the Massart's weaponized Spectral Agony. Oh, here we go. Debates on the relationship between the fractal phenomena and the Massart's weaponized Spectral Agony are many, and they are outside the scope of this report. I don't need Isgar and breathing down my neck for referencing sealed records. All right, do you know what? Look, some of you guys get pissy about that. Yeah, I wish you'd just read it all. But I actually think it's really cool, right? It's really cool that I can read it, a bit of it, you can if you're actively thinking about the material, that's where your head goes. And then to prove, look, the writers know that because they immediately then supply that information. It's what I demonstrate there is actually that's written really well because the questions that it poses, it's moving into, you know. I think that's cool. See, I'm doing it on purpose. This is actually, you don't think it is, but it's actually high quality content. Right, okay, I'm going to step away and back.
My
wow, that was quick.
Congratulations to you, hero. The tremors now subside into ripples, and the danger from the mists recedes. This piece is the product of your effort, and that of the comrades who joined you. Allow me to name myself among them.
Yeah, by the way, I haven't...
Oh,
there you go, he's Raza.
Born of the mists. In worlds and times beyond this, I will be your ally.
I always welcome new allies.
That is... We will doubtless meet again. Until then, may the mists favor your path.
That is cool, all right? Look, I'm not jumping on the table and spinning in a jig, but that is cool. You know, if you think about that as a mystery that started with the Icebreed Saga and whatnot, to reveal it is Raza. Oh, it started with the gem store, right? Because they added the outfit before anything else, the Miss Stranger outfit. He's weirdly technological looking now. What's with the gas mask, Raza? What's going on there? Yeah, that's cool. I was going to say, I haven't mentioned this, the Mist Stranger does help in lots of fun ways in the fractals. Like you'll see, like if you need to press F on multiple panels to disable a mechanic or something, like that staircase with the horizontal electrical bars I talked about in Uncategorized, you'll see he actually teleports and does other ones for you, right? Like I have been very impressed to see the ways in which he's around in the fractals helping you out. And he like reses you and stuff. Kyra says your obsession with Lord Ultron is fascinating. Was he even mentioned once in game? I think that's partly it. It's because he's not talked about much, but I think he is. He might. Isn't there an ascended relic that talks about him? Oh, maybe not. He's definitely mentioned in the Dermond Priory archives in the Season 2 instance. Probably some other places. I don't know. If I was on Wiki right now, I'd just run a search on there and it would pop up his name a few times, I'm sure. Oh, wow. We got 4,900. 49,000. I'm thinking with VOE, I'll hit the 50k finally. That'll be quite cool. I really, really want Arenanet to look at these high tier, like that Ascended Achiever title should probably be like yellow or something, right? Well, I don't know. What color? Some kind of color. I don't know whether it's worthy of the PvP or the World vs. World colors. I don't know whether purple is kind of the domain of difficult raid colors, right? So I don't know. But anyway, cool. And look how many pinnacle skins there are to get still. As far as I know, I haven't got any... You know what? I think the last time I got one of these, it was on stream as well. Which is quite cool. What I focused on was shields, because they're always big and cool. I focus on things that throw projectiles, because sometimes the projectiles look cool, or the sound effect is cool. And then spellcasting stuff. Focus is always the first one I get. And then the rest is just whatever's left. So hammer, sword, mace. Basically martial weapons, torch. Torches are usually okay, because they sometimes have cool colors. And by cool colors, I don't just mean the color of the weapon, but the color of the light that the weapon illuminates can change. So let's do that one.
Statistically speaking,
Michael Lama with a $5
rare.
donation. Thank you, Michael. And I hope that's a question or a message at least. I'm sure. Just got it. Not sure anybody mentioned it, but you got name dropped on a podcast with the Guild Wars 1 game director. Anyway, here's a $5. What the fuck? What is this? What is that podcast? And wait, which game director? Who do they call the Guild Wars 1 game director? I mean, there were 3 leaders of the company as it was originally made. Someone needs to link it because I've been asking about it. Well, yeah, I'm honored. I'm amazed by that. That's really incredible. Is it a bigger podcast? I feel kind of guilty, you know, because I haven't been ultra active with Guild Wars newsy stuff lately. I just haven't, you know, and it feels kind of awkward that, you know, there are these people that might name drop me, and you know, maybe I don't deserve it. I don't know. The current game director of GW1. Oh, are you talking about SCW? Was SCW on a podcast and he mentioned my name? It was episode 56 of the Game Developer Podcast. Has anyone actually listened to it? Anyone in chat here? Has anybody actually listened? That's incredibly nice. I wonder what he said. I don't remember whether SCW has that as a formal title for Guild Wars 1. I know he's like the primary Guild Wars 1 dev at this point. I wonder what he said. That's super cool that I got name dropped. That's really, really nice. I mean, he's incredible. I met him. I did, if you guys followed my Azaric coverage, he was the big guy behind Azaric as well, and he saw I'd done an LP on it, and when I met him, he gave me some of the early like design maps and things for the game, which I absolutely cherish. I still have. I have them rolled up in a tube. That doesn't sound very good. He gave it to. I have them in the packaging. He gave them to me, and I'm always very delicate and careful about them. And he gave me some sheet music as well from the game too, laminated sheet music. You're a lovely guy, really, really nice. You were listening to it before I went live. So talk to me about just the podcast in general. What is it? Episode 56. Is it a new thing, or is it a thing they only do like once a month? So it's been going for a few years. The precious tube. I know. All right. Well, there you go. It was Razza. The big reveal that it was Razza, guys. And our reward, Icasia.
What a pleasant surprise.
Which, weirdly enough, is account bound but did not automatically unlock. Oh, because I understand that's not weird. It's because you're letting me pick. I'm going to go for light. Add to legendary armory. Oh, it makes me... There you go. Now that's what I'm talking about. That's flavorful UI right there. Look, they got audio on there. It makes me sad that I can't close the inventory back there. It's so ugly. Icasia, the Mist Grasper. Now, I did look up last night what Icasia means, but I couldn't really find anything. A mysterious pair of gloves that seek to hold the very essence of the worlds between. Open your hands and harness the energies of a deteriorating fractal to bring that destruction to your foes. Fun idea. I like that Razza was in this story and clearly not related to the gloves, because it sort of kills that line of speculation and leaves us with more fun ideas. So beautiful. Oh, what should I do? My pinnacle weapon or Icasia? Well, I could do both, actually. So let's equip them. And let's see. So can I dye the effect? Is that the idea? So Icasia... Oh, I see. I only just now understand. It's the agony effect, isn't it? It's the agony effect on the tip of whatever weapon. So let me just... so, for example, if we do the Primordus hammer, it's now got the glowing purple bit on it. If I dye it, can you dye Icasia? So that the effect itself changes? I was under the impression you could. I was mistaken. I really thought you could dye it. I thought you could change the blob color. So it's always purple. Now what I saw that looked pretty cool was like a thief that was dual wielding swords. I can't actually do that on Ellie to show it off. Let's swap over to our Messmar. And talk to the Miss Stranger and ask him about the other items to view his selection. Okay, hold on. Well, here we go. Oh my god, I'm not wearing very many clothes here, am I? Think of the children. So yeah, looks like it's sort of... I think it's best on martial weapons because you don't want it clogging. I'm not going to unequip shit because I'm not going to remember what sigils and stuff I had. But on a torch, it kind of feels like it's crowding out the torch effect a little bit, doesn't it? But it works well on Mesmer. And the effect in the middle of the axe too is really cool as well. This always just reminds me of when that shaman did that ultra slow-mo video of, like, I think it was this animation. It looked so good. And I asked him for advice on doing it myself. Tried it and just did really badly. You can still see pre-End of Dragons. I sat down once for about 3 hours with Boots recording animations at high frame rate to try and do, like really show off the Spectre and stuff. And it just didn't come out well. But yeah, okay, there you go. I like the Legendary. I just don't really know what else to say about it. I will be using it. It's another little way to customize the weapons, a little bit more visual noise. I'm all good for that. And you know what, guys? I think it's quite good as well that they give you an easy Legendary. I know that there's this thing, oh, it's so easy. What about my effort? But I think given in the broader context of the game and how miserable I am about what they're doing with Legendary Armory and all the conveniences on Legendaries and everything, I'm totally okay with them doing easier ones. I am. Fuck it, let people fill all the slots with easier ones. Use it as incentives for all your little events and things like that. And then maybe in 3 years, introduce mythic items, which are the original idea for Legendaries, you know. Like ludicrously, insanely rare, blah, blah, blah. I don't know, maybe it's all a bit silly to even say that. Okay, so... Oh, okay, they can recolor its infusions from the vendor. Right, okay, I got you guys, I'm looking. So, yeah, let's go check those out. So, is it the vendor in the instance specifically? Are these guys just going to be standing here forever now? Oh, this vendor?
I'm listening.
No, he's that guy. Hello, thank you for coming to the aid of Tyria. I'll assist in any way I can. Is there any way I can get another set of gloves? For an artifact of the fractals, the possibility of an alternative form is there. However, it may require a much greater outlay of materials. Okay. Oh, I see. I see. So we need the spark from a few fractals, but then they are going to ask for a bit of money this time. Some rune stones and then might and magic. Oh no, sorry. They're both prosperity. Oof. Okay. So yeah, the other ones are a bit more expensive. I'm fine with that though. I'm okay with that. So then the other thing is, so these let you change the color. They're also +5, +9s. Oh, and they cost sparks. Do you know what, everybody? Sorry. Let's say that a bit more manly. Oh, do you know what, everyone? That's actually a nice, cheap way of getting +5, +9s, as far as I'm concerned. Because you'll just keep getting these sparks coming in over time. And you can customize it left and right. That's cool. Super cool. Oh, what? And you can get a spark for free with the exotic Omni Potion that I got from the Wizard's Vault. Yeah, guys, this Vault season is obscene. It's gone on and on and on and on. I have nothing to spend money on, points on. I've got too many points. Oh, woe is me. I feel like I'm that thing. I'm Woody Harrelson drying my eyes with money. Look at how much shit is sold out. I mean, literally. If there was ever a catch-up season, it was now. Because not only has the gap been longer between the end of the story and the start of the expansion, which I'm not salty about at all. The gap's been longer, but they filled it with so much stuff. There's been like 3 festivals. There was the Four Winds, this, the Elite Spec Beta. Did that give you Vault? I guess that one didn't give you Vault stuff. And now we've got Halloween coming up as well. Halloween as well! There's so many points! Here's what I refuse to buy. Transmutation charges. I mean, come on. These I don't need, but I'll have to maybe bite the bullet and do it. I mean, there you go. I'll get the weapon. Mastery coffers. I mean, I guess it should just be gold, right? I should just keep doing the renewable gold. If I don't start the next expansion with like 1,600 out of 1,300, I've done something wrong. And no, I don't even have this weekly done. Oh, they want me to do all 3 metas as well. For another 150. Jesus. Anyway, yeah, this is cool. This is cool. So I got this extra Omni Potion when I already have the classic Ascended one. So this is my compensation, right? So I can buy a Spark. I guess I could hold on to the exotic one because it's like a unique once ever sort of thing. But I don't know. Doesn't seem like a great idea. You don't play enough for this ever to be a problem? No, but really though, I'm not playing much. I'm not playing much of the game. I'm really not. I know there's that thing where no-lifers that are playing too much will say that, blah, 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 but really, I'm just like the weekly will take, well, I don't know, maybe an hour? Maybe? Across the whole week. I'm deadly serious. Like, this will take 2 seconds, the BAM Gauntlet, because you just TP to someone. Salvaging items is a freebie. I've already got 3 for free. What is that? That's just doing fractals. That was just doing a couple of fractals for this event. Which means I'd only need to do 1 more. 10 events? I'll get that for a couple more fractals. Like, I'm literally getting that for free. All of these, like... I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to buy this. Less clutter in it. And then I could get an incursion weapon token for the Spark. And the incursion weapon is what? Frodo's selling those, is he? No. Oh, he's not going to. As always, I'm impressed, but not surprised. You have a knack for finding trouble and solving it. Have you learned anything more about the glove? I'll say this: the Vault would prefer we lock it up, but I think it might be something we need now. It seems to be built to intermiss fluctuations like the ones we're fighting. That's promising. Oh no, this isn't new dialogue. How can we restore it? Does your astral currency get reset if you save them? You can only save up to quite a low threshold. You can only save up to 1,300 ostensibly, but they actually give you an overflow amount as well. So if you were at 1,250 and then you collected a big reward like this, it would jump up and you would get that extra buffer for free. So you can hold on to about 1,400, 1,500. And then when the new expansion comes out, you have that immediately, and you can just start buying up straight away. You can trade it for torment weapon tokens too. Oh, really? Is that the thing? Few questions for the consortium. Right. What I'm curious about here is, so that's it. That's this incursive investigation. Oh my god! Look at all the AP that I can do. Incursive investigation, pack of wolves, chasing shadows, stabilizing the classics. What? They've all opened up again. I can get more AP again. Threats to Tyria 3. Oh wow, defeat triple trouble. So all of this is available, but none of it's actually required. This is all, it's all just bonus fractal in dust and also AP, which is juicy looking to me. Cool. So just play fractals and do a triple trouble at some point. Oh, and also do the major meta event things. Shit, these aren't about to go away, are they? And so then there's this. So we do 1 more fractal and we unlock a legendary weapon key. It's the key that is definitely going away in a couple of hours. So let's do that. Let's do our last fractal, I guess. Hope we get a good one. What does a good one mean? And by the way, look at how quick the matchmaking happens and everything. See, if they had locked this to T4s, this would not be happening here. It wouldn't be so fast. It wouldn't be so fluid. It wouldn't be so easy. The only downside to this is, as I've been saying for years, Guild Wars has done so much to make group play frictionless that there is no communication. It's not really meaningful co-op anymore, you know? There's no collaboration because there's no... You know, and I really don't like the phrase pain points, right? There's no real collaboration, and that's kind of how this feels. This feels like being out in open world, when really I feel like the remit of this instant stuff is to be a little bit bigger with it. But, you know, I'm not really having a solution there with that observation. So yeah, I don't really know what's been happening, by the way, but in week 1, I'm sure that this wasn't showing up. I guess they've been expanding the pool that can appear in the Quickplay as it's gone along. And speaking of which, they have news about that. We're going to move on to a blog post in a second, guys. I'm going to beat this Fractal, and we're going to move on to section 3, which is going to be about raids, strikes, and the matchmaker being improved, I guess. Now, this news came out, I think, at the end of last week, was it? It was while I had my nose buried in GUI files. Investigation should be permanent. Yeah, I think what just complicated it is this thing here, incursive investigation. They've put under the bonus events bit, but it's not actually a part of the bonus event. That's going to move probably into the Fractal section later and be permanent. So all of this AP is permanent. I would hope anyway. And you'll notice that this stuff doesn't have any AP, which is in line with how they do it. They don't FOMO you with AP anymore. They did during season 1, but not anymore. Cairo says the solution is not to be as afraid of friction between players as much as Arenanet have been. Certainly, but generally speaking, I agree. You know, my dream MMO thing, all my designs are about embracing that. You know, I have lots of votes and things so that players can make decisions, but amongst themselves. But I want to be clear. As far as open world is concerned, I think it was the right move. I think it was the right move to be as frictionless as possible. I think world bosses that only offer spectacle and scale and not real gameplay, fine. I think that's all right. And I actually think they hit the balance. There even is a little bit of friction. When you look at Gw2 in the new map, the new open world Gw2, there's a little bit of friction about breaking that break bar and keeping the ghosts away, but it works, you know? And it's the open world. People don't get too salty. People don't get too upset. As a baseline thing for adventuring and playing in an MMO, I still believe in everything Arenanet said in their manifesto way back when about how you shouldn't be upset to see another player. You shouldn't be upset to see that they're going to steal your kill and take your gold or your XP. You shouldn't be angry that they got you killed. You shouldn't be angry that they're scaling an event up and they're not good enough to justify their own existence, right? And that's been the real tricky subject with Guild Wars 2 and hiding away the DPS meters and stuff. Using ignorance as a shield, as I said. But I do believe in all of that for the open world. I do. But I think once we're in fractals and dungeons and raids and strike missions even, I think you have to allow for that to exist. Fractals are a little bit more of a special case because they also have like scales, right? So maybe T1 fractals can be as frictionless as they are. That's fine, right? And it will come in as we scale up. You had a bad experience with people leaving Kinfort in Quickplay, which has been very disappointing. Yeah, what happens if people leave? Like here, right? Someone's left. This guy's not here. He didn't join. We're four-manning this, and it's okay because it's T1. But if this was T4, what exactly does that do? Does it throw someone else in? Do we as a group have to kick them and then post on LFG? And I don't, by the way, and that's a little bit annoying, but I'm actually not too upset with that. Because I think that direct communication and us actually asking for another player and all that is kind of a good thing. And it means that the LFG category itself fills up, you know? Like when I look here and I see all these people. Plus it gives us an opportunity to ask for a specific role, maybe? I don't know. Quick play raids will be interesting to see. Yeah, I really want to see what Arenanet say about that, because role selection is very important in there. And if they're not going to make a hard and fast decision about what Guild Wars 2's roles are, which I think they might not, we'll have to see. So there you go. So we get a universal key. I honestly don't really have any plans to use this. I'll go there just because it's a cool place and you know, a fun place to take the stream. Fast load is look at this fucking place. Look at this. So cool. They did such a good job here. This is Zayak. So these are all the legendaries that can come from my universal kit. There you go. Look, I just did daily there. So here's various Lisses. Oh, and she's got Icasia on all of them as well. That's cool. That is very cool. I like that. So that's Bolt with Icasia. That's the Incinerator with it. Not so good. Moot with it. Not so good. Oh my god. Is it only swords that it puts it on the tip? I want it on the tip, you know? The tip's the best bit. That's like the sensitive area. Yeah, look, the axe knows what's up. The scepter as well. Pistol. Oh, look at Rodgort. Rodgort just looks cool. We've got our underwaters here. What about the inner ring? Hold on. Yeah, they are still Gen 1, aren't they? Yeah, I was going to say, holy shit. Good time to tune in. Oh, there you go. And we've already seen that, obviously. That's Juggernaut there. Juggernaut, if it was right out on the end, it would look pretty cool. Oh, yeah, and then the OGs, Eternity. And you know what? When I see Eternity, Sunrise, Twilight, I get a very weird feeling of a very classic Guild Wars 2 sort of place and time. So then we could just pick one of these. I think if I'm gonna pick one, it's gonna be a dual wielder that I don't have dual wield available yet, which I think. So like I can dual wield legendary maces because I have Gen 2 and Gen 1. But do I want to dual wield Moot? I think Axe is the last one actually. I don't have 2 Frost Fangs. I have 2 Incinerators. I have 2 Bolts. I have everything except 2 axes, so maybe we just do Frostfang. There we go. Easy peasy. And I can pick the Gift of Might or Magic. Which one's the cheap one these days? Does anyone know off the top of their head if there's a disparity between this? The reason I ask is because I was looking into the Jade bot modules about 3 months ago. What was I doing? I was doing some kind of farm in-game, and I was thinking, you know what, having a Jade bot module with this would be really nice, because so much junk loot is coming in. Oh, I remember, it was like the T1, T2 farms for the Obsidian Armor. And I believe I read that there was a big difference between getting the magical trinkets or the mighty trinkets. It's very 2012 core. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Twilight on a max-size Norn male warrior. Yes. So I don't know. Maybe if no one in chat knows this right now, I'll make that decision a little bit later, I suppose. Got a large achievement chest. Oh my god, Liz has a big inventory, and we're managing to fill it up here. It's interesting that the duplicate gloves require gifts specifically from Secrets of the Obscure. Oh, true. Yeah, they're Obsidian armor gifts, aren't they? Are they accessible to people regardless? So wait, do you need Secrets of the Obscure to get duplicate Icasias? Magic is 10 gold more. 15 gold of each other, so no big deal. Magic is 10 more. Pretty even. 238 versus 247. Okay, fuck it. Well, I'll take magic then. Just because it will give people an aneurysm if I take might now that I know the other. It's like all those times I'll be streaming and I'll list things on the TP, not for a sell price, for the buy price. Look at this. 83 superior ingredient pouches I've had just building up. Look at this. Jesus Christ. Just from logging in to do the odd fractal. I really think they designed the event very well, you know. They encouraged me to, you know, sometimes I'll binge to do the all 10 for the week. Sometimes I'll just do it once per day. And it all came in pretty cleanly, guys. And I've got even more to do now still. That's cool. Maybe I can get Kerry to do some fractals with me. Well, there you have it. All right. Let's see what they said about Quickplay in this most recent blog post, shall we? Let's have a look now. Where should we stand for this? Let's pick a cool, fun place to be. Do you know what? Let's go to the start of the Mithrite Gambit. The room full of gold. Just because I like that. So what's this? Your freebie is open to free accounts, so pick your weight wisely. Nice incentive to get expansions. I'm so lost. What? Freebie is open to free accounts? Oh, you mean the I see. So yeah, you could have a totally free-to-play account and get legendary gloves really quick. I really like that as well. There's something very good about that. Like, the new players will come in and they will be told, hey, do fractals with me. Do early fractals. You'll get your first legendary. And it immediately puts them in there. If you look at fractals as the dungeon substitute, then that's 10 out of 10. That's really good. Everyone coming into the game is going to be going to do the right thing and get used to it and learn how the matchmaker works and all of that. It's the start. It's the kind of thing where it's like Arenanet. I know there's no value to me saying this, but it's like Arenanet coulda, woulda, shoulda done this years ago. And it's nice that we have that there. And if they can integrate the other dungeons as we know them, that would also be very cool into fractals. Maybe not for this year, but the year after. Okay. Whoopsie, not that. Well, actually, yes, it is that. So these are screenshots of my version 2 of the mod. Oh, there's my old army screen, which just looks hideous and cursed compared to the one I just made these past few days. Man, I've got a channel over in their modding Discord, and I kept posting my updates, like, here's how this is going, here's this video of this asset, here's this video, this video, this video, this video. I just kept going, and I felt like I was taking GCSE art again, you know, like where you're filling in that book of like, oh, here's my mock-up for this concept, here's how it's going, here's what worked, here's what didn't, here's how I tweaked it. Seriously, just like hundreds of videos and pictures and annotated comments as it went. And I was doing it to a channel with about like 2 people in it. And the entire time, like, thinking to myself, I should just do this in the Spud Discord. But I don't know if anyone would really care, you know? So yeah, but there were a couple of people rooting for me, like two nerds. They're like, I like this mod. And to those people, I'm gratefully, immensely thankful because it gave me the motivation. Okay, well, and then we got the Skimmer stuff. These are all spoilers for the later sections of today's video. The Skimmer news came out right after the previous thing. Here we go, guys. Combining raids and strike missions in 2026. And again, we're not doing this as a mini video. Hey, folks, this is Brian Yarrow. Hello, Brian. Sorry, I was trying to move the thing. We're trying to move Liz out of the way, but we'll do it like this. This is Brian Yarrow, Combat Systems Lead on Guild Wars 2 ***. And I'm here to talk to you about something really exciting that's coming with the first major update to Visions of Eternity early next year. So this isn't coming at the end of the month. This is coming early in the year. As we announced in July, we're merging the strike mission and the raid game modes into a single game mode, which will just be called Raids. We'll be releasing another blog on this topic in the coming months with more granular details, but today I want to focus on why we're doing this and how we got there. Okay, can I just pause? Oh, but just by the way, this is blind. I've never read this. Didn't they already do that? Didn't they already tell us overall why they're doing this? Are there actually any details in this then? Alright. Or did I just assume certain things that are now being confirmed? Why merge strikes and raids? Strike missions were originally designed to help players transition from open world content into raid content. They were intended to be quicker to complete than a full raid wing, and have slightly less complicated mechanics as well. Over time, our data indicated that strike missions weren't performing as the content bridge we were hoping for. When we dug into the details of why this was happening, we found a number of reasons that we believed were all contributing factors And we've been attempting to address these over our past few expansions. Oh, sick. Okay, yeah, tell me more. Game background noise is a bit loud, is it? All right. Look at that. Look at that. That's good feedback. Good feedback. It's because we're in this very loud sort of... I want to see the gems fall, but I don't want to hear them fall, you know? It's like standing near a waypoint. Not that we can really see them anyway while I've got this big fucking thing up. Alright, so they're pointing out that it's a content bridge and it's supposed to be a bit easier. And then they're pointing out what is, in my opinion, the hardest strike mission before CMs and stuff are considered. This strike mission nobody fucking does, unless you're a group that's like doing the full set. People are a bit leery about this one. It ain't no Icebrood Saga 5. Strikes are actually just wildly inconsistent in their difficulty. I would say they're not universally at X level, you know. When we looked at who was playing strike missions and why, we discovered that inexperienced players had low engagement with strikes. Furthermore, players who wanted to raid still felt blocked due to difficulty concerns and challenges in finding a group to run them with. Strike missions simply weren't being viewed as the stepping stone to raids that we originally intended. Yeah, the fact that you can do Icebrood Saga 5 doesn't mean that I want you in my Mount Barry or CM group. Since then, we've tried to reframe and clarify how difficulty levels work in our group instance content across both strike missions and raid game modes. Normal mode should be able to be completed by anyone interested in learning the content, while challenge mode is aimed towards our hardcore audience. We also have some plans, which we'll tease below, that will further clarify the intended difficulty levels of raids for players. We'll tease. Okay, can I just say, the dream here is that they not only unify... Yeah, I'm going to do this thing where I ask for more. The dream is that they unify raids and strikes and give it a difficulty balance pass. I'm talking specifically Wing 1 through 4. Tune those bad boys up just a bit. And don't listen to those nerds that say, oh, just the health bumps are lazy. Health bumps are just lazy. No. Ignore those people. Give it like a 30% health bump. All the encounters in those first 4 wings. Alright? I don't know. It depends what we're doing. But let's have a look here at least. So here is Doom sitting on his throne. Guys, my YouTube chat is freaking out. It keeps juggling and bouncing like someone's trying to send messages and then they're getting culled instantly. Are you guys seeing that? It keeps flicking and flicking and flicking. I don't know. What do you guys think? Raids, encounters and wings. As we make plans to improve strike mission engagement, we came to realise that strikes and raids didn't need to be separate game modes at all. They were both squad-based instance content with similar levels of complexity. Raid wings were just longer and tended to have a bit more complexity per encounter than strike missions did. We were also paying some hidden costs by separating them, such as each mode having its own separate reward system that didn't incentivize cross-engagement. Very good point. Not to mention it was confusing for new players. Excellent point as well. Strike missions will be known as raid encounters going forward and will be siblings with the current raid wings within the larger raids game mode. This should make it easier for new players to understand and approach. Okay, so you're telling me that we're not having strikes and raids. We're having raids and raid wings. Okay, so my thinking when we got this news earlier in the summer, my belief was that they were going to split them all into islands. They were all going to be individual islands. And you just pick your island. But no, they're keeping them together. Easier on their end. But you've got individual raids and then you have full wings. The thing is though, right, like... You can open a wing at the third boss, so it's essentially an island at that point. Will they have stuff for that? Maybe your chat is very happy and bouncy. Yeah, I feel like it's when people do those little emotes. Is it someone spamming like those little hearts? Maybe? Okay. So you have raids, and you can pick either a wing or a regular ass raid. Next in playlist. Here's Samurog. Are these new screenshots they got, or are they pulling them out of the bank? Like, if I go to look at the original Hall of Change release page, will they have Doom sitting on the throne there? Raiding in 2026. Combining these game modes offers us the opportunity to do much more than making things simpler to understand. In our first major game update for Guild Wars 2 Visions of Eternity, we'll also be adding the following to raids. Number 1, there will be a new raid UI with quality of life improvements. See screenshot below. Now, I didn't look at it, but I did have to see it to... I looked, but I didn't see, alright? So I don't know what the details are on it, but we'll have a look in a minute. So this will be a list of all wings and encounters, and will allow you to go directly to the boss you want to tackle. Aha! So I can skip to Doom if I want, even if I haven't done. I don't need to do like door bosses and stuff. The list includes encounter difficulty ratings to inform players. Oh, that's another choice, isn't it? That's another choice. So you can leave Wing 1 as super easy. It's just a 1-star raid. It's going to feel like I'm playing Monster Hunter, isn't it? How many stars does it go up to? Oh, do you know what? They're better than me. That's a better solution. It's a better solution than my solution. Why? It's easier for them, but also it represents opportunity in the future. All right, I just want you to imagine this. It's 2027, and there's the headline on PC Gamer. Guild Wars 2 gets its first 10-star raid. You know, like, and everyone's really excited. Like, you've got a new lever there for a bit of excitement by pushing the stars as time goes forward. And then you also kind of embrace this idea of invalidating your own content via power creep. But again, though, are they going to maintain this? I guess not. I guess it will just be that in the 2030s, 3-star raids will be easy because they've been power crept to death. I mean, Guild Wars should not be doing that at all, just to be clear. It's against the nature of this game and the idea of sticking at level 80. If you're going to power creep the raids, Arenanet, why break apart everything else people are looking for in an RPG? Why do it? You've managed to have neither your cake nor eat it. Quick play mode to assist players in finding a group. So I can quick play for them, just like with those fractals. There's a lot of questions with that, though, isn't there, Arenanet? How do roles work? What do we expect the queue times to be like when it's not because people are getting frictionless fights for an easy legendary? A merge reward system for strikes and raid wings. That's very good. Is the chest going to disappear from the Eye of the North? A new Guild Wars 2 Visions of Eternity raid encounter with a challenge mode, a second raid encounter, a challenge mode, and a legendary mode will come in subsequent updates. So whoa. Did we know that already? They're doing 2 raids for VOE? Holy shit, there's 2 raids for VOE. Did we know that already? Also, it's not a raid wing, it's a raid encounter. So 2 fights. So less than Mount Burial gave us. Hear me out, one day we had gambits, yeah. So effectively it's 2 strikes. But look, it's already the rebranding is working wonders, alright? And at the end of the day, guys, it's about the stars, isn't it? That's what it's about. People talk about raids and people sneer at strike, saying, oh, they're easy. But no, people will learn now is what they don't like is 1-star fights. What they want is 5-star fights, and that's what they'll ask for. So in that final bullet point there, you know, maybe the first one they release is going to be a 2-star fight, and the next one they release will be a 5-star fight or something, right? So there aren't 2 LMs next year. There's only 1 LM. How do the modes work with all this UI and stuff? Can I tell people this is for LM? Oh, here it is. This is the UI. Okay, let me have a look here what other text they have. Okay. These features will allow us to better communicate difficulty levels for raids and address the significant quality of life issues that depress engagement. And as many as you've correctly surmised, the Quickplay mode feature that we debuted in beta form for Fractal Incursion bonus event will indeed be added to raids next year to help players find groups for the easiest encounters. Oh, so they're not adding it. It's so the matchmaker is just for the easy ones. And in that way, they hope to sidestep composition requirements and stuff. That's what it is, isn't it? They're just going to say, fuck it, dump 10 random players in, but it's okay because it's an easy wing. And hope that they talk to each other and work the rest out. That's what that's going to be. They're getting closer. If there's like a daily reward on it, we're getting closer to the roulette dream. We're very excited to see how the community engages with our merge raid game mode, and we'll share more details on how this will all work in the coming months. Happy gaming. Yeah, not too many details. Really, it's this, isn't it? This is the whole thing. So what do I see here? What do I spy with my little eye? Something beginning with M. It's the Mithrite Gambit. Hey, that's where we are. Look at that. All planned out. I wonder whether subliminally on some level. I knew that, and that's why I picked this. Right. I love these double parentheses. Whenever I'm in a Guild Wars 2 beta, they're always filled with the double parentheses. It's basically unfinished localization text. So they're saying, I can select a raid. Ugh, why is Strike Mission still on there? What? Because that's the name of the instance. I assume they're going to prune that. Wow, your fucking work in progress mock-up doesn't even have... Okay, I assume that where that says Strike Mission Old Lions Court, they will get rid of that text. They will remove that name for the instance. I guess technically they could keep it there, but I don't like it. It feels messy. So for the core, so there is one core game raid. It's Old Lions Court. That's really interesting, isn't it? And totally true. It's a season 1 raid. Do you know what? They should honorifically add a season 2 raid. Do the Shadow of the Dragon from the end of season 2. Come on. Make it another 1 star. I don't care. Oh, they're not actually stars either. They look like little... Oh, no, make them stars. Arenanet. Come on, people will really embrace the star thing. They've just got them as like little radial buttons there. Screw radial buttons. Make them stars. No one's going to say, oh, I want to play only 3 dots. Can I just play a 3-dot raid? No. Zomaros is invited, so then we get a description, which is currently already on LFG, and the art, which is currently already on LFG, by the way, though people never really appreciate or enjoy it. Raid encounter details. That's a bit clunkily done, isn't it? That's a bit cumbersome. I guess you're supposed to mouse over that eye, and then it will give you a tooltip. But what kind of details are you going to give me on that tooltip? See, that's what it really comes down to, because... the reality is, I'm going to say right now what I've been saying a lot for a long time. Wiki integration. Arenanet, they should click that eye, and it should throw me over to the wiki. That's what it should be. Because the wiki is an excellent resource that has all the inner workings of the fights and all that, and it will teach people what they need. Have a little notification there saying there may be spoilers, and, you know, the wiki is fit for purpose. It's right there. You already embrace it in the game. Just do it in some more obvious ways. But what about when I'm queuing in for an entire wing? See, that just says raid encounter details for the entire Mithrite Gambit. It doesn't say that... Okay, and then... Alright, so... And then this final element is showing how far they've progressed in the fight, in the wing. So they've already killed Conjured Amalgam. They've already done the treasure rooms, the portals, I guess. So that's actually, that's Twin Is that Twin Lagos? Or is that Zomoros? Because Zomoros is the one with the white box outlined. Is that they're fighting Zomoros, but the player so far this week hasn't cleared Twin Lagos? Is that what that's trying to say? I'm not sure I really think this is a very good UI. And what the fuck else is there even to look at? Yeah, you've listed them on the left. It says enter, but does enter matchmake me? Also, how do I open this panel? Well, I can see why they're doing it in the new year, because they clearly got a long ways to go. Sorry, Kadeem, yeah. Well, look, Zomoros is in the fight. It's technically Zomoros v Kadeem. We're just the little plebes that are running around at his feet. You know, they're doing battle as you know, throwing fire and water at one another. I love that fight, man. God, you look at the quality of that fucking wing. Look at the quality of Wing 5. Look at the quality of Wing 4. I don't care about the tuning so much, right? Look at what goes into the art and the ideas behind those fights. They were firing, man, back then. They really were. You compare that to what I'm experiencing right now in Mount Varial. Does this hint you can enter it from anywhere in the world too? I think so, yeah. I mean, look, if you can matchmake for PvP anywhere in the world, if you can matchmake for fractals anywhere in the world, I don't see why you shouldn't be able to matchmake for this. I thought that this blog post would have more details on fractals as well, by the way. So what's going on then? What's happening in a few hours? The beta ends, I get it. Is that it? What is their plan for how many fractals are we meant to be able to... Are they doing it for all the criteria in the end? Where is Forging Steel? Oh, did they not have everything on there? Let's have a look. Oh, Forging Steel. Forging Steel's a really good one, actually. That's a good point from chat there. Forging Steel does not conform to any other content that they've done. See, this just goes to show what a mess the Ice Root Saga was, in my honest opinion. Forging Steel doesn't work. It's like a scrying pool mission that you can do 10-man. I mean, we may as well talk about the Almora instance after that as well. Or the Ryland instance, I should say. And it's like, they're kind of like the Marionette, and they're kind of like Dragonstorm, and they're kind of like the Battle for LA, but they're not 50-man, they're 10-man. Maybe they just do it that way. Maybe Forging Steel is something you enter every 2 hours at the Eye of the North from the Mist Stranger. But instead of going into a 50-man map, you could just go into a 10-man map. Maybe it's as simple as that, right? They're just like casual missions on a rotation or something. They're definitely not raids. Even with all the challenge modes and stuff enabled on Forging Steel, it's not that brutal. It's harder than you might think, though. I've been in a few groups that have wiped to that. So hold on, also on the list on the left, we do have icons there, but I think those icons on the left, like it's showing boss, mini event, like Spirit Veil, right? When you look at Spirit Veil there, it shows boss, and then that's the Spirit Run, and then it's Gorseval, and then it's Sabbather, right? It does sound like you're going to be able to open at the final boss, which is cool, without having to progress there. But I don't really see on the UI, do I click the icon for the boss I want to fight? Is that the idea? It's a lot to ask of the matchmaker. And I'm just scared of them splitting the population. Right, like just picture this. I'm matchmaking for Spirit Veil, but I'm trying to queue into Gorseval. and there are loads of people playing, but they're all queuing in for Sabbath. So I'm just sucking queue, you know, and you multiply that across every option, across every raid. You've split the matchmaker out so much, no one's going to meet anyone. But if you keep the wings bundled together and people just have to go in from the start, they at least are still unified. Also, I don't see any space for a total random thing. Matchmaking to any, right? Like with fractals at the moment, we don't have separate playlists for every single fractal. I just hit matchmaking, it throws me in one randomly. I don't see space for that here on this UI, and I really think that should be there. There should be a global roulette that can populate any unfilled one. Oh, it feels like it's less than I thought. It feels like things happen very slowly with Guild Wars. Very slowly. We're looking at half a year to get to the first, to sort of stagger our way to the sort of beginning of something. Will this even get the matchmaker for now? Yeah, exactly. I don't know. All right, but look, it's progress. All right, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. It's progress. If LFG was random, people will leave when they don't want to. That, yes, that is a behavior, but that's all. That's true of any matchmaking system, and then that comes down to punishment for leavers, doesn't it? Like in Fractals in the Quickplay, if you leave early, if you roll Deepstone and you jump out, you can't go back in. You get penal. You know, there's dishonor and stuff. You can't condemn the entire idea of the matchmaker just based on that. You know, that's clearly a situation where, and it's the same with PvP matchmaking, right? If you matchmake in and you don't play the match, you get penalized heavily. You get locked out. So people learn to, oh, well, I just got unlucky. Whoopsie. I rolled the Crystal Tower Alliance raid again. Guess I got to play it. It's already happening with Fractal FG. Well, exactly. But the question there is the punishment systems. You can't avoid that. It's the punishment is not strong enough right now. And maybe that's a thing in the Fractal event because it is a beta after all. Oh, God. Fly on me. All right. So cool. Anything I missed there, guys? Anything that, you know? Anything more to get to? Let's move on. Next piece of news. I guess I'll just go in order here. We'll scroll past the Planet View stuff again. And there's a PC Gamer article out. Let's talk about the other beta that just happened. Why did I load so many of these up? Okay. Transform. Reset transform. There we go. Guild Wars 2 exclusive by Phil Savage. I can't remember. I think I met that guy. I can't remember, though. Guild Wars 2 exclusive. Arenanet breaks down the changes coming to all 9 new elite specs in the next expansion. Now, 2 things here. One, I don't like, when it comes to a third-party site delivering information, I have never and will never just wholesale rehost their content, okay? PC Gamer wants the click. It's PC Gamer's piece. Check PC Gamer out. I'm not reading their entire article here. I just have a couple of small snippets, and you guys can read the rest if you like. I will tacitly say, however, I think I have the only interesting bits. What I will also say is I don't think this is a very good article. I've sort of read some of it in detail. I've skimmed some and kind of skipped through some. So what it sounds like is Phil had a quick chat with CMC who waffled about some ideas about where they might go. And that's it. All right. I don't think there's many revelations in here, but there are some. Okay, there are some things. So let's see what they suppose might happen. Ritualist, upcoming changes. So I will read the first paragraph out. I did include it in the screenshot, but the only important bit is really the bit that I've highlighted. While there was a positive reception to the Ritualist in the beta, the main point of feedback was that once you've summoned your spirits, there was little else to actually do while in Shroud. The Shroud skills are maybe not quite impactful enough, agrees Cohen. The longer cooldowns of the spirits meant that once summoned, there was little left beyond the auto attack. And as for players taking the Grandmaster trait that keeps your spirits active after you leave the Shroud, you can be penalized for actually using your skills because you need to instead preserve your life force to sustain them. For that build in particular, the best way, it seems, to just pop into Shroud, press Anguish again, don't even necessarily press Wanderlust because the damage is maybe too low, and then X out again, because then that's maximizing your life force, your spirit uptime. I don't see a problem with any of that, by the way. Like, yes, that's a different playstyle for that specific option. And let's be clear, right? Overall, it's the rich list. It is a summon and... It's a summon spec, right? It's a summon idea. Part and parcel of that fantasy is pressing your buttons to set things up and watching them go, all right? I don't think that's a valid criticism to say, oh, no, I don't have much to do. No, stop trying to fit square pegs into round holes, all right? I think that's a fundamental misunderstanding of the playstyle that you're building. Not every playstyle needs to feel identical. And I'll note as well, by the way, the fucking Shroud, like Core Shroud, very often on Necro... It can feel that way. Get up, get the Tainted Shackles up, pop a Fear, maybe throw the TP. You're watching those Doomfire autos come out, right? You're sieging with Doomfire. It's a very similar playstyle. It doesn't make it bad, all right? So, I'm a little bit nervous about any player giving that feedback and any dev well, you know, taking it too closely to heart. Anyway, Arenanet's now looking at how to make your Shroud matter more. In addition to making the summons more potent, possible options, and that's all this is always, guys, possible options, possible this, possible that, include a rework of the Shroud's 5th skill, which currently shadow steps you and your spirits to a target location. This is very much a utility-focused skill that maybe doesn't have as much impact as some of the other Shroud 5s we have, like the big CC with Harbinger or the Giant Scythe with Reaper. Now, I think that's true, and I myself said that the 5 feels a bit off. It feels like kind of a utility pick. It doesn't feel like it should be on Shroud, and that was something that I felt similar. So I'm excited about that. But so, yeah, that's... By the way, and I've cut a lot out of the article here. Basically, all of that is to say the only thing that sounds concrete out of all of that to me is they'll probably change Shroud 5. Evoker. Think waffle is my word of the year. Really? I do like the word waffle. I feel like I've said it for a long time, though. Waffle. It's good, isn't it? Do you know another... I don't know if I said this before. I'm going to say it again. Do you know what a word I love? I hate how it's been co-opted. It's been changed, all right? There's a word I fucking love, and I always use it. It's how I get polemic and condescending and sneering. I'm a nerdy reviewer. Here's a word I love. Ready? Slop. I love the word slop. Slop is a great word for something hastily made, low quality. WoodenPotatoes content is slop. It's just good, isn't it? But you know what? Slop sucks as a word now because it's been taken over by the AI misanthropes crowd. Slop is never used anymore in any arena of conversation except when talking about AI. Oh, it's AI slop. AI slop. AI slop. I dare you to find someone who's not a curtain-twitching, morally panicked lunatic on the internet, fearful of AI, that doesn't use the word slop with it. And they've killed the word, man! You've taken the word away from me! I feel like how racist Southerners must have felt. I've lost it, guys. So I don't like using the word slop anymore, because it's overdone. It's just an AI word. The AI is stealing my words. Slop shall return with 14. That's true. We get to say sloppy at the end of Heaven's Ward. That's very true. I need to reclaim slop. Well, I can't let the haters take the word slop, all right? I need to use it as much as possible. Look at all this sloppy commentary coming from CMC here. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, get in there. Yeah, Illbird moment. Hello, Skilled, by the way. All right, let's do this. Okay, Evoker upcoming changes. Thematically, it's one of my favorites of the new specs, but in the beta, not all of the achievements landed as well as they could have, particularly on support. So this is Phil saying this, by the way. Phil? Really? I thought it looked sick. The support Evoker shit was cool. The only downside was if you wanted to do the elemental specialization and alacrity, you couldn't, which is what he'll speak to in a second. So maybe that's what it means. The initial idea was that certain traits would be stronger with specific elements, but ultimately there wasn't enough room within the trait system to support it because you've got 4 elements and only 3 choices of a trait. We ran into the problem where we ran out of space in the trait line to actually flesh out all the builds, or where there's only one set of traits that each of the builds could take. It ended up not actually being interesting gameplay-wise, even if in theory it was cool. He explains that we're probably expecting a lot more generic or a lot more of the dual-type traits, where it's a trait that's good for fire or air. Those are going to be the main DPS elements, so we're going to blend those together for sure. See, they already did that with Evoker, though, right? It was like hare and turtle, or it was... I thought they had already doubled up. That's going to open a lot more space in the trait line to actually add more support boons, because that's the big flaw of the beta with all the support build for Evokers. They didn't have access to enough boons for their allies. Another thing Cohen calls out is moving the boon generation of the Familiar's Blessing Grandmaster down to Master, meaning support players have the option of picking the GM where you can dedicate an element. And that's very good as well. We discussed that during the beta. I know that there was a lot of conversation that we had over that series. But yes, I think it's quite right to identify that in Guild Wars at the moment, they're inconsistent and for no reason about where your alacrity or quickness is coming from. Some specs get it on the Elite, on the Grandmaster. Some specs get it on the Master. Some specs even get it on the Adept. And it's like, why does this guy get it almost as his freebie, low-stakes Adept choice, but this guy has to define his entire identity around it because it's a Grandmaster choice? Why is that inconsistent, you know? And that is not just a thing about the visions of Eternity Elite specs, it's a thing about all the Elite specs. So I'd like to see a unification there. That's not what they're saying in this interview that they're doing, but at least they're looking at it for the Evoker here. Arenanet is also looking at allowing the familiar skill to auto-cast, which was another big point of feedback. It's definitely a priority because if you're playing very quickly, it's frustrating to use my weapon skills. Press F5, use my weapon skills, press F5. It's really weird key binding. We want to make sure the basic skill, the one you always want to fire off, are given the option to enable auto-attack. Okay, a couple of things about this, alright? I don't like that final point at all because it seems utterly blind on 2 specific fronts to what Guild Wars is, alright? What Elementalist is, particularly. Let's go to Biora Marches, where it's cold. Let's get into a Christmassy theme, a Christmassy vibe here. What am I doing here? Hello? F5. 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 Waiting for my achievements to come back, and it'll be the same fucking thing. F5, F5, F5. What are you talking about? Well, this is not an Evoker thing. The Catalyst plays exactly the same way. And, you know, there's just a thing, right, where it's like, people are obviously rebinding that shit. Alright, I'm not pressing F5, I'm pressing Q, because I can rebind it, because the game's been cooked for years now. It's not even just an early thing. Lots of classes ask you to press that F5 a lot. Evoker is not asking you to do it any more than Catalyst. And in fact, the real criticism of Evoker is that it's Catalyst. The playstyle, the gameplay, it's Catalyst with slightly different effects when you hit that F5, right? And slightly different radiuses. Some of the ground targeting is a bit different, right? It's nearly identical to what you already made with End of Dragons. It needs to be gutted from a more fundamental level. They're not prepared to do that gutting, so they're just, like, pretending that's not a thing. But it sort of blows my mind. Anyone could make that comment as a criticism of the Evoker when it's kind of just what Guild Wars gameplay is, right? Like, obviously rebind that shit. But then the other thing that is kind of, like, just completely blind to... Well, let's see. Arenanet is looking at allowing... is auto-casting, right? Auto-casting is shit. Okay, if he made that comment along with a comment saying we're going to be quicker about auto-casts, then I'd be really excited about it. So, let's see. I can maybe demonstrate this on Ellie... yeah, let's just try it. Okay, let's just try it. Okay. Head straight on into the area. I am a rare sight for me. I'm going to spawn a golem on stream. This is I gotta be on the golem in a minute here just to be 100% sure about Scourge, so I don't drag the group down too badly when we hit Guerrilla in a minute. Just spawn any old golem. It literally doesn't matter. Right. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to set Technobabble to autocast. Now, Technobabble is an instant activation ability. So with Technobabble on autocast, let's do that now. There you go. It's got the 2 arrows around it. My expectation of the autocaster should be that as soon as that 45-second cooldown is up, that's instant activation. It can overlap with any spell. There is no reason the frame that hits 45, that it comes back, the autocaster should press Technobabble immediately. It should know to do that. And that's the case for any instant activation. If I autocasted these, the Catalyst Qs, the deploys Jade's Fizz, it's the same thing, right? If I was a Tempest and I wanted to do Feel the Burn, if I was a Mesmer and I wanted to do it on a Mantra or whatever, you shouldn't really with things that should be contextually pressed, whatever, right? It should do it immediately because I've set it to autocast. And there's a lot of builds, and this would be very handy, and I would really like this for Guild Wars. It would be cool, okay? So let's see what the behavior is. In the meantime, I'm going to spam my skills. I'm going to queue my skills as fast as I possibly can over on the left-hand side of my bar. All right, so ready? Here we go. So it did it immediately. I should be demonstrating with a different... Hold on, we'll wait now. I should be demonstrating with a faster cooling down thing here. Basically, this is going to take ages to show. Autocast is shit. It won't do it. It will wait for a little gap. As long as I'm queuing stuff, it doesn't know it can press it. And, it seemed to actually turn off there, which is really weird. It's really inconsistent. Autocast is not good in Guild Wars 2. And, like, even if this was true that he's talking about here, that, we could put our F5, our familiar skill onto autocast. Here we go. So, look, we got a few seconds. So, I'm gonna start queuing stuff now, okay? And my fear here is I'm gonna fuck this up. See, it's not pressing it. In fact, it turned autocast off there, which is really weird to me. Why did it turn it off? It might be being especially weird on Ellie. Anyway, this is not an Ellie problem. It's a Guild Wars thing. Autocast sucks. That's not going to change things very much. Why are we not talking about the fact that this is exactly what it's like on Catalyst already? That's not a valid response. The response is rebind F5. Sorry, that's what I think there. Right, Troubadour. Much like Elementalist, there's a strong thematic through line in the Mesmer's new Elite spec. One that feels particularly cohesive thanks to the obvious interactions between profession skills and utilities. And that's true. If anything, though, players wanted that theme to be more present in the gameplay. It's spectral instruments making themselves more known. We just want to make sure the gameplay around the instruments feels good, says Cohen, suggesting more tuning as planned. Now, that to me comes across as a non sequitur. Alright, I agree that the instruments don't look that cool. I would rather they be bigger and they not be phantasmal. But, you know, that's vibe. That's theme. That's sort of nothing, right? Similar to Evoker, Troubadour's balance changes are going to be focused on the Spec's trait lines. In the beta, plenty of traits mapped directly to the specific instruments. A loot trait that increases damage. A flute trait that applies an extra condi. Trying to do too many things in the trait line muddies what you can actually do in terms of real builds. So our support build is maybe too linear. It's not interesting enough because our choices are very spread out. Right now, too much of the trait selection is predefined by the build you're trying to make, resulting in obvious picks that feel necessary to take. That's taken up a lot of space in this trait line that could otherwise have been spent fleshing out different ways for the support build to do different things, or really hammering into the iconic moments of Troubadour. Okay, here, there's a fundamental mismatch between what I believe the trait system can and should do and what Arenanet do here. We talked about this a lot during the beta, okay? I believe in a Guild Wars where top-down you have an idea of a spec and a goal that and something it aims to do, and then therefore you can pick traits that go for it. So if I want to be a support Troubadour, there is nothing wrong with me having 3 obvious traits for that support Troubadour. As long as I want to play a power Troubadour or a Condi Troubadour or whatever, a tank Troubadour, you know, to pull out some other ideas maybe for other competitive modes or whatever, right? that the other trait lines exist for those. And when I'm on those different trait lines, it's making different skills, different priorities, it's giving me different effects and changing the play style a little bit. That's fine. That's how the game should be made. To me, and look, I'm not speaking a truth about the game, but to me that's clean design. That's something we can all wrestle with. That's, as players, we understand how things are. As devs, they understand how things are. If you're making if they make a support Troubadour and there's 3 obvious picks, brilliant. The game is, does Troubadour have the adaptability to fill some other roles? And when I put it in those other roles, does the gameplay feel a bit different? And that's where the trait design comes in. That's it. That's as simple as it can be. What CMC is talking about here, and I guess Phil a little bit, I think is madness. I think is naive. And I think is like, it hasn't really thought about how the game is played. It's this weird thing of saying, oh no, if I play a support Troubadour, I should be able to pick this, or this, or this, or this. And they're talking about like opening some crazy fucking Pandora's box where every idea is accounted for. And oh yeah, we can have 5 different types of support Troubadour. Yeah, and then we're going to have 5 different types of support Catalyst and 5... Like, no, man, that's not realistic. That's living in the clouds. It's not... Like, when we get buried into hyper-specific conversation where we're only looking at the Evoker only during its beta, there's a temptation to, like, go down that line of conversation, but I don't think it's healthy for the game. I don't think it's what we should be doing. There's nothing wrong with obvious traits when you've got a specific role that you're going for. I have no problem with it at all. And here's the thing, right? Like, the game does that. Many elite specs, many core specs already have that. And I don't think it's a very valid criticism to say, well, they're boring for that. Like, why is this a challenge that we're taking upon ourselves now when the game already has thrown in the towel on that challenge in lots of other places? Well, okay, you're going to do that for Evoker? Well, why not fucking do it for everything else? Look at what your game currently is, all right? And just say that that's status quo. That's how we handle traits in this game. Because, hey, guess what? Handling thousands of iterations probably won't lead to very interesting traits, probably won't lead to very interesting gameplay, because the more iterations you give those players, the more anodyne the traits themselves are going to have to be. Because, you know, basically you're asking it to be Guild Wars 1, where it gets so hectic and crazy and the players have so much power, none of the traits can be interesting anymore. So I don't, on like a fundamental, like high-level balanced conversation, I don't get this, and I really don't like the response to this, because it makes me feel like the team over at the studio haven't had any of these conversations. Maybe I'm being a doomer about it or something, I don't know. But so yeah, cool. Waste a bunch of fucking time messing with the Troubadour in the pursuit of something you don't have to pursue. That's how I read that, sorry. Gale Shot. I think Gale Shot was among the best received of the elite specs during the beta, and certainly the one I had the most fun with. Arenanet seems pleased with the reception. We didn't try to do anything too crazy with the specs, says Cohen. We had a great idea, strong theme, and the execution was just done really well. There you go. Well done. Take a victory, and you deserve that. It feels like Gale Shot landed the closest to what its final form will be. Rather than any big feedback points, the focus is just on refining what's there. We have a handful of polish items, some small notes here and there. This skill needs a bit more range. Some traits could be a little bit more interesting. Yeah, I mean, look, this is what I mean. There's nothing. They're not even giving us one of the small notes. I mean, give me one of the small notes. One of my small notes was I wanted the radius on, like, Squall or whatever it was to be slightly higher. I would have loved the radius on that to be bumped up a bit. Hopefully that's what they mean when they say the skill needs a bit more range. But, you know, they're being non-specific, which isn't too fun. Antiquary. The diverse range of opinions on its theme aside, a lot of the feedback from the... Okay, can I just say, all right, what did I say about the Antiquary? What did I say? All right, that wasn't theme, gameplay. I said the RNG shit was a radical idea that won't work because this is Guild Wars and they always balance out RNG. They always de-accent things. They always make things always useful. They always tend to the middle and round out all the sharp edges. That's what they do. That's how this balance team works. That's how this game operates. And I said that Antiquary may well release with a lot of RNG, but it will all be melted away. Over the balance patches, people will complain about it, and it will be lost and lost and lost. I said this is a process that will happen over the next few years until Antiquary isn't recognizably anything interesting at all, but it'll be fine by that point because you'll be interested in the next shiny thing. Okay, that's what I said, all right? Now let's see what their plans are after the beta. The randomness leads to situations where you're forced to play the UI instead of the game. On stealing artifacts, you've got to take the time to process what they are, what they do, and how best to use them. The lack of consistent results makes it hard to build up muscle memory as you play. By the way, I don't think that's a valid criticism. Yes, it's harder to learn, but that's fine. Some classes are like that. You would eventually get there. Anyway, we definitely want to make the trait that guarantees the offensive relic and defensive relic baseline. In the beta, split deck trait made it so that instead of picking 2 relics from the entire pool of 8, one would get one of 4 offensive, 1 of 4 defensive. In the full release, this will now be the default behavior. We don't want those moments where you need a DPS skill and you draw 2 defensive artifacts. Or you need that big defensive moment and, oh, sorry, you got really unlucky and didn't get what you're going for. So that's going to be that extra layer of mitigation just built into the spec. I think that's going to help a lot, yeah. And I'll tell you what, next year they'll do another round and there'll be a bit less RNG and there'll be a bit less. And we're unifying the effects of the artifacts so that they have different animations, but overall do the same thing. It'll be shit like that. Trust me, the RNG will be good. This is a nothing spec. And do you know what, guys? Honestly, from the very first moment that this was announced, we all knew that this was the path we were going on. What perplexes me is that Arenanet sat there for a year building the fucking thing, knowing that this was going to be what the community asked for, knowing that they were going to make it baseline, knowing that their baby was going to be thrown out with the bathwater. They knew it. Surely they knew it. Just the smallest bit of long-term thinking. So, yeah, fuck Antiquary. My crystal ball has foreseen. Amalgam's upcoming changes. So this is quite funny, by the way. I was on Snow Crows quite a lot during the beta, not looking at the new specs, but for other specs. And they have their leaderboard, and it was a shit ton of Visions of Eternity specs were really high benchmarks, like ludicrous benchmarks. Loads of them were. I don't remember Amalgam particularly standing out among them. It definitely did a lot of damage, right? But then so did a lot of the specs. And the fact that they were going to get tuned and refined in was pretty obvious for a lot of them. But here's Phil's commentary. As a DPS spec, Amalgam significantly overperformed, topping DPS benchmark leaderboards by some margin. Unsurprisingly, then, you can expect nerfs to its damage. Why are we only talking about the Amalgam's nerfs? I don't remember it being that far ahead, right? Wasn't it, like, obscene in the middle of the beta, but got hot-fixed even within the beta itself? I don't know. It's useful data to see how far above or below it is. Players like, oh, the damage is too low on Rich List, which is probably true, but that doesn't make it bad. We're more concerned if the gameplay of the spec doesn't feel great, which we talked about with Rich List, where, okay, the Shroud needs to be more impactful, but the damage numbers at the end of the day will be bringing them up or bringing them down. In that sense, the Amalgam seems a success. Obviously, it's overtuned in terms of power level, but we saw a lot of really strong reception. It's one of the specs that got the most play during the beta because the players are pretty excited. Really strong theme again, this mercurial mold, the shape-shifting metal. Really awesome idea. You can make a giant sword, and it's too big, and it clips through the ground, so we need to shrink it a bit. There's a lot of really fun stuff going on in the spec. I think players really responded to it very strongly. I mean, it's true. Everyone loved that fucking thing. They really did, didn't they? That said, Arenanet's looking at the trait that lets you share evolved bonuses to other players. There's a few things that may be a bit too powerful for it to share. Yeah, I mean, look, we don't need to go back to Grace of the Land stuff, do we? We tried a lot of exciting ideas there. We might need to rein some of them in. It's possible Amalgam won't retain the ability to grant both quickness and alacrity at the same time, something they've historically been against. He says, we're still thinking about it, but I'm not sure that one's going to make its launch. It's got a chance, but it might not have the best chance. Like, listen to this. Why is nothing definitive? I'm coming at them hard here. I know I am, guys. I'm being really ranty and I'm being really aggressive. But honestly, why aren't they being definitive? We're not talking about some distant, lofty fucking period. We're talking about 3 weeks away. This shit comes out at the end of October. And it's like there's just no committal to anything. I don't know what kind of rounds this did on the official forums or Reddit, whether people were geeking out that it was so exciting and so insightful. But to me, it's just very like, maybe. Do you know what it feels like? It feels like Phil got into Discord with these guys, had a casual off-the-record chat where they didn't really want to say anything, and then was asked to... the poor guy was asked to spin an article out of it. That's what it was like. Remember, go read it for yourselves. Give them the click. Oh, okay. Comments on the Reddit post said the interview was a few days after the beta. Wait, what? Published yesterday. Published yesterday. Oh, we've gone too far forwards. This is the Paragon, the Luminary and everything. So, I don't know. I guess it just took them a while. Alright, Conduit. Okay, Conduit was pretty weak, but had some good ideas. I was very interested to see what they say here. It's lacking in execution. I think Conduit is a pretty good example of one where we felt the profession mechanic didn't quite have enough going on. We had the idea of the new F2 skill, the Cosmic Wisdom, where you could channel the form. So we had a lot of ideas about this, like overloading it and, you know, bringing the animations from the other legends. There's so many fancy things they could do. We had the idea of the new F2 skill, the Cosmic Wisdom, where you could channel the form of these different professions to draw inspiration and play into different builds. You have the Condi build with the Demon Stars, the Brugery build with Jarlis. I think what we found is that from a gameplay perspective, the skills ended up not being super interesting. The problem is that the bonuses you get from Cosmic Wisdom are generally quite basic, a stat boost and a non-hit. It's pretty on point with how the Avatar skills from Guild Wars 1 work, which was the inspiration, and fair play to them there. I actually was not too upset with that stuff. But some of those also have some more interesting hooks, so we're thinking, could these be more interesting? Fundamentally, they're like stances, so maybe we could have a more interesting stance buff as you're in the Cosmic Wisdom state. They're also taking a look at Affinity, which is quite basic, a counter that extends the duration of Wisdom. While making the Cosmic Wisdom effects more interesting would make Affinity more relevant, Cohen notes it currently feels divorced from the overall gameplay. We're definitely thinking about the profession mechanic, because we felt like a big part of the feedback of the spec, it just doesn't do enough. I mean, look, there's just not any information here, guys. This boils down to that sentence. We're thinking a lot about the profession mechanic. Really? Me too. But you're in the hot seat. Paragon. While there was a sense... Here's some of my feedbacks in this one, so this makes me happy. While there was a sense coming out of the beta that Paragon felt undertuned, one of the main pieces of feedback centered more on the look of the spec. Players want to see the wings more. Hell yeah! Referencing one of the more distinguishing features of the Guild Wars 1 version of the profession, we have those on the elite skill. The big moment of, here's the Paragon wings in their full glory, and, you know, we're thinking about it. Oh. Do you know what? Right. It's like the Online Safety Act, right? It's complete bullshit. It's a technological morass. It doesn't work. By the way, IMGA went down for people in the UK the other day. It's absolute horseshit. Every Conservative MP that voted for it's a moron. Every Labour MP that's enacted it is a moron, especially while trying to lower the voting age. Yeah, piss the people off that you're trying to get to vote for you. It's fucking idiocy at all levels. It's an attack on our rights. They have no leg to stand on. They're fucking expensing VPNs to you, the taxpayer, while telling you that VPN should be illegal. Fuck them all. It's the worst thing in the world. Hundreds of thousands of people vote for a petition to get them back in the House to debate it. And here's what they say. We're thinking about it. We're thinking about it. I don't want to hear that you're thinking about it. Repeal the fucking OSA. Repeal the OSA. Oh my god. And that's how I feel here. Stop telling me you're thinking about it. Sorry. I'm all hot. I need to cool down here. I'm a bit hot under the collar at the moment. Get Proton VPN. I live in Ireland now. In terms of balance, Paragon is another spec where Arenanet's looking closely at the trait lines. We see the Alacrity Grandmaster trait being an example of, here's a trait that just gives Alacrity. And maybe that's not a Grandmaster level trait. We might end up moving it out of the Master tier, or we might end up adding more stuff on top of it to make it feel like a true Grandmaster trait. Well, the other thing was, it sucks that you just spam the refrains. It was kind of fun to be more precise about it. And he doesn't talk about that there. I think there's a lot of examples in the Paragon trait line where it didn't quite land as we wanted it to. Another trait consideration they're making is enabling a DPS build. That's another thing that maybe is not as thematic. But it's pretty notable callback to Guild Wars 1. If you want to be the spear-chucking Paragon that does a bunch of damage, that's not super well enabled at the moment. It's kind of there, but maybe a Grandmaster trait that gives you the bonus damage is most interesting. The thing is, there was a DPS archetype for Paragons in Guild Wars 1. You know, there's a whole skill tree filled with different spear skills that do damage and apply deep wounds and burning and all kinds of crazy shit, right? And Command is an aggressive support. The Command line was all about not just buffing your damage, but everyone else's. So I don't see why there can't be a Grace of the... If you're going to do it for the fucking Amalgam, Grace of the Land-esque thing for a DPS build here. But yeah. So there's the Paragon. We're thinking about some stuff. And finally, Luminary, the bottom of the pile, actually has 2 pages here. There are some big changes planned for Luminary's launch, which surprisingly, Cohen takes as a positive. Yeah, no mea culpas here, guys. Instead of lots of small tweaks... Sorry, lots of small things to tweak and fix. There were a few major changes requested, which kind of feels really good because, okay, if we just fix all of those things, then the spec's awesome. Okay, I'm not sure I really get that quote. One really small, relatively small, immediate change is that Radiant Shroud won't be called a Shroud. Ah, now here's something tangible. I like that. Internally, we use the word Shroud to talk about a lot of mechanics that are maybe not necessarily Shrouds. Harbinger has a fairly loose interpretation of Shroud in that it doesn't protect you, but we think we're going to rename the Radiant one. It'll probably be Radiant Forge, but we'll brainstorm it a little internally. I like that. As for the more major feedback, Arenanet's addressing the flow of combat in the Shroud. We see a lot of feedback around the skills being a bit too slow. You know the hammer, you float in the air for 10 years and then you slam down. Maybe it should be sped up a little bit. I like that. That's true too. They did feel a bit slow. More generally, players were frustrated with the Shroud's cooldown scaling, seeing it as a penalty for wanting to use all of the Shroud skills while in the Shroud. I don't want to say it's surprising, but it's the opposite of how we envisaged it. It was more like a reward for just popping in and doing one thing. It's like, okay, I just need my shield block, I can just go into Shroud and use that and come out, and I still have time, I can go into Shroud again and use my sword leap or my hammer. Nevertheless, that's not how players saw it, so it's being changed. That's kind of major, right? That's the entire identity of the Radiant Forge, and now they're changing it. Arenanet's also looking at the Shroud's auto-attack, which changes based on the weapon you equip. A neat idea, but one that felt underwhelming. It's just the same kind of spellcasty burst of magic around you all the time. And we saw a lot of players say, hey, I have a giant hammer in my hands, why am I not swinging it? So we'll probably retool how the basic attack works a little bit and try to give you a bit more of an incentive to be in that Shroud a little longer. The other big change will be on the virtues, the F1 to F3, which for Luminary are the same as the core profession. That's the other thing the core players called out. Why are they core virtues? Which again is understandable. So now they're looking at making Luminary-specific virtues that better tie into the specific themes of the spec. We do want to keep them as more of those instant cast, immediate value type skills. We just want them to be a bit more Luminary flavor. So basically what they did with Chrono, right? And maybe some interaction with the profession mechanics, but the idea of these is supposed to be more immediate value as opposed to the big animations of Dragon Hunter or Willbender. Because we have those big animations in the Radiant Shroud. So they're reworking a lot of the Luminary, which is absolutely justified. Luminary had one trait. It had the light that is fun and transformative and so on. It was the light aura trait. The rest of it was complete shit. I don't care if you could make a build that felt like it had some efficacy and Stockholm Syndrome-esque eventually think, oh, this is kind of okay. It's dog shit. So, yeah. And obviously they're not going to go online saying that about their own work, but yeah, I'm happy to hear that there's a lot of changes. I don't know what all this waffle is at the top about. Oh! It's actually just fix a billion small things. That's brilliant. Lots of fun. Yeah. Alright, so there you go. Sorry, a very mean potato came out there, I think. But I'm pulling no punches, guys. They won't be pulled. That's the PC Gamer article. Hello, Boots! It's good to see you. You don't blame me? You hate PR speak too? I mean, I would be no different. It's all context, right? I have the freedom of candor here. But if you are working at a studio, you know, you're representative of that workplace. You're representing other people's work, not just your own. You're obviously not going to go and talk shit about the Luminary in an interview with a third party, are you? So, you know, it's not... It is what it is. Alright, so, my throat's a bit sore. What time is it? Okay, 5:45. Right, the final section. I don't know. Hold on. I kind of want to just cool down here for a second. What do we think, guys? Is there anything you want to know? Is there anything that I missed? Maybe let me look at chat. You're expecting a lot of post-launch work on the specs? Me too, yeah. And look, if that interview was done ages ago, then that maybe explains why they're not very detailed about their major plans. Am I fighting a cold or did I just wake up? No, I was just talking loudly for 3 hours. But I am a bit... I'll give you guys a story, actually. I've got no coffee with me today. I've got no coffee. Oh, this is really cringy. This is really cringy, okay? Don't judge me. I think I might have given myself kidney damage. I was going ham on the coffee the past 2-3 weeks. Like a lot of coffee. Okay, 2 things. 1, I've been losing weight. And 2, so when you eat less, okay, a lot of people get a lot of their hydration from food. So when you eat less, you need to remember to drink a lot of water. You just have to, right? Like, you got to keep yourself hydrated. And for this particular, like, you know, I'll lose weight and then gain weight and then lose weight and then gain weight, like, perpetually. For this particular cycle, I've just been drinking a lot of coffee. I haven't really been drinking much water. So I kind of... But here's the other thing. You remember... Oh, actually, well, I was talking about this on some recent videos. You remember how I bought that thermos? The Katina cup or whatever it's called? So someone in chat recommended it to me, all right? Whoever you are out there, you directly responsible for this. I really like drinking coffee out of that, okay? Because it stays hot forever, but it's almost like a sippy cup, right? So if I've got coffee in a mug, you know, you get your whole mouth around that bad boy. You can get a lot in straight away, gulp it down, right? But this cup thing, it's got quite a narrow aperture from which the liquid comes out, right? So you kind of like suck it out almost. It's a little bit like a sippy cup, right? And, you know, I'm a man in my 30s, all right? I'm comfortable enough in my masculinity. I can admit, I like sippy cups. I haven't got any sippy cups, but I kind of like it. So basically, I'm like drinking coffee, and I don't feel hungry. If you're drinking coffee, you get an energy, you get a nice warm, filling sensation, you're getting hydrated. It's good. If you're losing weight, coffee's nice, right? It really is. You know, just use sweeteners, not actual sugar. Have it black or with only the tiniest little touch of milk. But so I've got this thermos, and the sippy cup sort of element of it makes it feel like I don't even drink it that fast. Like I just do a bit and then I can put it back on the desk and then a bit and then. So it's like I'm just constantly nursing like this warm, satiating feeling all day, right? The thing is that the thermos is slightly bigger than a mug, but it's not quite 2 mugs. But it kind of is. So basically, when I make the coffee, if I just put one... I do instant coffee, right? In before all the fucking snobby Americans. Oh, it has to be real coffee. Yeah, I did years with that AirPress. I'm done with that. So I'll do like... instead. So if I make a mug of coffee, I'll do 1 teaspoon of coffee. 1 teaspoon. I'm doing 2 teaspoons into this thermos thing. But maybe there's not quite enough water going in it to justify the 2 teaspoons. But so maybe in a way I'm having like double coffees. I don't know. So anyway, so I'm drinking it. I'm happy. I feel fine. I've not got any issues. It's whatever, you know. I'm doing my daily exercises and walks and things, and I'm basically just having a lot more coffee than normal, and okay, so I started drinking the coffee maybe about 4 or 5 weeks ago, maybe somewhere around then. It's not been very long. It's not been very long. So anyway, about 2 weeks ago, I had a backache. Felt just like I'd pulled a muscle in my back. Just 100% like I'd pulled a muscle in my back. And I was like, oh fuck, okay, I probably got to rest. And like, not that bad. Not just a little bit of a backache. Just a little thrumming backache. Slightly on the left. And I'm sitting there thinking, that's a bit annoying. So I'm just relaxing and relaxing and relaxing, and it's not going away, like never. And so I looked it up. Okay, and then it would actually get worse as the day went along. Like sitting in this chair, particularly, and I was thinking, is this just a bad chair? Because this is kind of a new chair. Is this an uncomfortable chair? People are always talking about how you need to buy Herman Millers and all this shit, and I've always You know, for years I've sat on like wooden kitchen chairs at the desk. I don't give a shit. It'll make your arse ache for maybe a few weeks, but then you'll just get over it and it'll be fine. You don't need a fancy padded chair as far as I'm concerned. I'm quite utilitarian about stuff like that. So anyway, but I'm finally now getting a bit of backache. I'm like, fuck, is this actually a thing with my chair? I'm getting backache from my chair finally. Is it because I'm in my 30s now or something? So so I think it will go away, but it's not. And I look it up, and it's basically exactly where your kidneys are, where my pain is. And what everything says is, a lot of people look this up. How can you tell if it's back pain or kidney pain? And the easiest way to know this, right, if it's kidney pain, if it's back pain, because you've pulled a muscle or something, I'm sure we've all been there. We've all done it at some point in our life, unless you're like a little kid watching me, right, if you do like a sudden jerky movement, if you do like a squat, if you bend down really quickly to pick something up, if you stand up really fast, if you jerk to the left, if you jerk to the right, if you have back pain and you do some kind of jerky movement, it will flare up. It will feel sharp, right? You'll feel like a sharp sort of oof, and you'll be like, fuck, that's back pain. Like, I've had that before. I'm sure you all know exactly what it is. If it's kidney pain, that never happens. You're just as mobile, you're just as sprightly, you can move around, you can do anything, and the pain never changes. It's just like a thrum. It's just like a throbbing, humming sort of feeling back there. And that's what I had. That's what I had. And it would last for like 2 weeks. Just like this just general pain in my back that wasn't going anywhere. It wasn't doing anything. I was like, what the fuck is this? And I seriously think I gave myself kidney. So I said to myself about 6 days ago now, 5-6 days ago, I said, all right, this has got to stop. I was like sitting there crunching fucking on this Stellaris mod. I was like, okay, so I went cold turkey on all coffee, stopped using the thermos altogether. I've just drank water all week. And the very first day I stopped drinking that coffee, it's gone away. My back's fine. I have absolutely no pain. I have nothing. It's all good. It's all well and good. So I don't know. Obviously, I didn't go to see a doctor. I didn't, do the responsible thing or whatever. But I feel fine now, and I have no thrumming, no little ache or anything. I got rid of my backache by stopping the coffee. So yeah, I don't know. I promised myself I'd do a full week with absolutely zero teetotal, and if I still had backache at the end of that week, I was going to go to the doctor. But it went off immediately. So I'm fine. I'm fine now. And that week isn't actually... I'm not quitting coffee forever, but maybe drink a bit less. So yeah, there you go. There's a little story. What's been going on with me? And I really do think... I think it was kidney... The thing... I think I fucked with my kidney somehow. The thing is, a lot of people say if you do get kidney damage in some way, your kidney isn't like your liver. If you have like a liver issue... I think they can cut your liver off, like a huge chunk, and it will regrow. Like, livers can regenerate. Lots of your body can heal, something like that, right? Kidneys can't. Kidneys have absolutely no way of healing themselves, so it's very serious if you have a kidney problem. And, if you Google kidney issues, which I was the other day, they'll say stuff like, like water. Drinking lots of water is not curative. It's just, like, preventative. Going back, if you fuck your kidney, it's fucked. You can't. You have to go get antibiotics. You have to go sort it out. That's what people say. You can't just start drinking water and it will fix itself. I read that over and over and over again, and it got me a bit worried. So I committed. I said, look, I'm going to stop the coffee and see if it goes away, and otherwise I'll go. And it did go away immediately. So I have no symptoms. I have no problems. I have no issues whatsoever. So I don't think I need to go see the doctor and get a course of antibiotics or anything like that. There's also the chance it's a kidney stone. Apparently kidney stones feel exactly the same. So I don't know. Maybe I just caused it to flare up a bit and it needed a bit of a break. The thing is, right, for one final twist, one final wriggle in this whole story, I'm pretty sure for a lot of that I was drinking decaf. So it's not even like caffeine. So I don't know. I really don't know. Kidneys you just have to replace, and don't even look up kidney stones. Kidney stones terrify me because I have a friend I was talking to in Discord. We were playing a game called Sunhaven at the moment. And she basically said when she was younger, she had kidney stones and it was like really uncomfortable and horrible. And like when I was explaining my backache, they were like, yeah, this is kidney. This is a kidney problem. I was like, oh shit. But I'm fine, so it's all good. I'm okay. I'm going to jinx it here, and I really hope to not jinx it. I'm not trying to tempt fate. I'm not trying to upset the universe here. I've never really had any health issues, so I hope I hope that continues to go unchanged. I've been very lucky and fortunate in my life as far as health issues are concerned. But yeah, I'm terrified of kidney stones because of that episode of Friends where Joey gets kidney stones. And he's in, like, agony. I'm sure they just play it up for gags. Like, the joke in that episode is that it's like, what is it, Phoebe? Phoebe's giving birth, and he's giving birth in his own way, sort of thing. And they're like, it's so small, or whatever. But they make it look horrifying. I don't want that. Kidney stones usually turn into a very sharp pain. Yeah, well, look, I promise, guys, before anyone freaks out, if it comes back, if I have any kind of chronic issues, I will go to the doctors. I will get antibiotics, but I'm totally fine. Literally, the day I stopped drinking, I've been fine. The day of. So I think I was just drinking too much coffee. Even if it was decaf? I don't know. No playing up with the kidney stones. You had a friend take morphine for the pain? Well, look, I mean, as long as they give me the morphine, right? Can I not pass it naturally at home? You know, like women give birth in a bathtub, right? Can I not? Do I have to do anything specific to pass a kidney stone? Also, what's the painful bit? Is it as it's in your body, or is it as it's coming through your urethra? Oh, God. Silver says, when I worked at an A&E, the people would scream from the pain. Really? Oh, God. Your father had gallstones, and he was in the floor in pain. So kidney stones, it depends on the size, the amount of pain. But drink more water. All that coffee dehydrates you. We'll give you an epidural, says Boots. Yeah. Yeah, what I'm wondering is maybe I did have a stone, but by drinking a lot of water, I flushed it. Would I see it? I mean, I haven't been peeing and heard a little tick noise or anything. Also, my pee never changed at all. Like, they say if there's blood in your pee or your pee goes very dark or all of those issues, then it's definitely your kidney. I never had that, you know. I've been drinking a lot. I always, whenever I start cutting my calories, whenever I start, you know, eating less, I always make sure to drink a lot. Because when I was a lot younger, when I was like in my teens and I would cut calories, I didn't know about the drinking thing. And I've had it before where I start getting chapped lips. I get chapped lips when I'm very nervous as well, which doesn't help when you're with a lovely lady. But, you know, dehydration from chapped lips, I never get that anymore because I always make sure that if you're going to eat less, drink more. Also, what's the difference between a gallstone and a kidney stone? Because your gallbladder, to be honest, I don't really know the difference between your liver, your kidney, your gallbladder. They're all like just filtration, aren't they, on different levels? Isn't one of them, evolutionarily speaking, they can't even really figure out why it's there? And no, I'm not talking about the appendix. I think we all understand that's there vestigially from when we used to just eat like grass and stuff. It doesn't have a purpose anymore. Over 30 problems. See, the thing is with me, I hate the thought of my body deteriorating in any way. Just because you get over 30 or whatever. You know, you always see people online saying, oh, I can't do anything anymore. My reflexes are slower, this, that, and the other thing. And I just want to believe it's because they're more sedentary now, or, you know, they don't watch their diet as closely anymore, and so on, so on, so on. Aging doesn't have to be this fast thing. Gallbladder stores bile, which is used to break down fats and stuff. I see. So the gallbladder feeds your stomach, does it? Is that where the acid that's in your stomach comes from? The gallbladder produces it? Kidney filters blood. Okay, yeah. One produces bile, so you probably have an overactive one when you're reading Studio Actor updates. Yeah, I'm slinging all that bile at them. Kidney takes care of most things that are dissolvable in water. So when you are drinking a lot of coffee, right, even if it is decaf, your kidneys filter in all that, right? When I drink water, Does it go like straight through my stomach into my kidney? Is that kind of... I know your kidneys basically feed you urine almost immediately, right? Like there is almost like a direct tube down there. Too much coffee or not enough water, because a lot of plain coffee shouldn't be too bad without all the sugar. Yeah, I like to think I make fairly healthy coffee, because I do only have the tiniest bit of milk. And I use sweeteners, which amount to like fucking 3 calories or something. Let's have me undergo therapy by playing the Paitha story episode so she can appreciate it in full. What? No, it has to go into your blood first. I see. So the water is absorbed, gets into your blood, hydrating you, and then when the blood passes through the kidney, it filters out impurities, something like that. And at some point, urea gets added there, which at some point becomes urine. I don't know. And urea is in sweat as well as urine, isn't it? The human body. I have so much respect for doctors and medical people. It's unreal. I have another little real life story for you guys at the moment. I'm not going to be specific about details. Someone close to me is very ill at the moment. Very ill. And in fact, urgently, potentially has like something wrong with their brain. And potentially could have like a lethal attack. Okay, so they had a scan. The hospitals realized that there was this issue. They got thrown into a waiting room, right? In the middle of the night. This is a family member of mine, not anyone online or anything like that. So anyway, so this scan happened, and a vascular neurologist needed to see the scan to determine exactly... Basically, if you guys know what a fistula was, they were scared there was a fistula. And... to do with like the arteries, the veins, the capillaries feeding this person's brain. And basically the scan had been made and they couldn't leave the hospital in case it was really serious, but it was like 2 a.m. or something. It was really, really early in the morning. And so there was a moment where one hospital had to ring another hospital that had like a higher level neurologist. Or a more specific neurologist, a vascular neurologist. And so this is a guy, and this is just the thing I want to talk about here. This is a man who's at work, right? And he received an email. And his job, this guy is getting this email out of the blue, and he has to respond to this email in an hour or two. If he doesn't respond to that email in an hour or two, someone's life is on the line. Someone could have an attack and die if he doesn't get to his email. And to me, that's just like, fuck, man. That's what he's chosen to do for a living. That's the kind of pressure, that's the responsibility that is on him all the time. He gets no warning about that. It's just, he gets a message, he has to fucking see that and respond to it. Like, everyone's waiting on him, all right? It all comes down to him. God knows what he's doing or where he is or whatever. If he misses it, if he has a bit of a bad moment for a second or two, you know, and I'll take ages to get back to people, sometimes ages. That's like the level that he's at, that you could just be thrown some information that you have to act on that fast. Otherwise, lives are on the line. You could be responsible for someone getting in serious pain or serious trouble. And, you know, and that's just that one example of a neurologist I don't know, a hospital I don't know. But a lot of these people are living lives like that. And it's like, you know, that's really respectful. You know, I have incredible respect for certain professions. Doctors, firemen, teachers. But, you know, when you think about stuff like that, it's absolutely incredible, isn't it, really? And, you know, deservedly so, these people are paid a lot, because that's quite the pressure to live your life on. I guess it's not that special to be on call. A lot of people are in various disciplines, but, you know, anyway. All right. There you go. There's a lot of ranting in which we talked not at all about the Elite Spec. Shall we do the last bit of news, everybody? And it relates to what I'm doing right now. Trust me, it has been meaningful content. It's about the Skimmer. So a couple of weeks back now, there was a Skimmer stream and a Skimmer blog post. I didn't look at either. I missed both of these. And again, I've actually said to those of you in the Spud Discord, those of you who message me, hey WP, there's been some news. That really means a lot. Thank you very much, because I will be out of the loop. If people don't tell me, So thank you. So yeah, here we go with the Skimmer updates. New Skimmer updates splash onto the scene with Visions of Eternity. So there was a stream about this in which people snooped this like UI thing, like the calendar or whatever. I didn't see that. I don't know whether any more amazing details came out from that. But just to remind you all as we go into this, the base Skimmer from POF does not swim underwater. You complete like an extra achievement event thing. I can barely even remember how to trigger it now. Out here in Lion's Arch, and there's a Skimmer race out here and stuff. You unlock the extra ability to swim later because it came to the game later. All right, they're separate elements of Guild Wars 2, and they're going to be unified in Visions of the Eternity, it seems. So I haven't fully read this blog post, but I have skimmed it. So here's a screenshot. So, just as in Janthir Wilds, the Warclaw kind of got a rebrand to the Journeykin. These guys are kind of a new type. They're not Skimmers. They've got some kind of new name. Back in July, we announced that a set of new and updated mechanics for the Skimmer would arrive with Visions of Eternity. Today, we're excited to share those details, including some exciting boosts for those with the Mount Mastery line trained. So a home called Castora. So by the way, this is where the island got named. And I believe actually on the stream it was shown off as well, wasn't it? It's a shame actually. I think it's to the bottom left or something, isn't it? Was this Castora? I don't know if it was all the way down here. I didn't see, but I think I heard. Was this Castora? Might be small for a whole mini X-Pack. Unless it's like two like that. I don't know. But it's called Castora. Again, this is the thing where I feel like there's some real-world analog. There might be a mythical place of Castora that we can find or something. Beaver Island. So if anyone knows that trivia, if there's a Castora somewhere else. I don't recognize it as a Guild Wars nerd from somewhere else. Oh, I skimmed the article. Yeah, very good. That was not the wordplay I was going for, but let's pretend it was. Liz says, normally on you're on duty for such calls, 1 to 2 hours can be crucial. Or even too long of a wait. So normally you must be able to arrive or respond in maximum 30 minutes. Yeah, I thought for like the really important stuff, people get paged. Like I was surprised in that anecdote that it was email. I thought, fuck me, man. Like a text or something that will buzz me at least, right? Or a page seems more important. And like I get it for like surgeons. Like if you're a trauma surgeon, if you're there by the emergency room, you know, the people at the top of the list for triage. I get that, but this is just like a brain specialist. There was a character named Castor, the female mercenary who patrolled with Logan, but died in a char attack near Ebonhawk during the Edge of Destiny. Okay, I don't remember that, but I totally believe that happens. Castor, it does sound a bit Roman, doesn't it? So I can see the char thing, like a castrum or whatever. The island got named a long time ago when they first announced Visions of Eternity. This isn't new. Did they really say the word Castora when they first announced Visions of Eternity? If they did I do a video where I read that out loud? It went in one ear and out the other? That's crazy. I really thought this was new for this. There's always someone on call with basically every speciality. Are you guys in the medical industry to some capacity then? Talk about this. It's such a shame, man, that the world I live in, the country that I live in, the society that we've built, everyone in that sector is underpaid and overstressed because there's not enough people there. It's just such a, you know... Anyway. We did talk about it. In the trailer, old person brain. That's either old person brain or I was just completely uninterested. To the extent that I forgot. Okay, alright, well there you go. During your time in Castora, this is why it's good that it's live, guys. See, if I had done a YouTube video dedicated to this and the first sentence was me saying, oh, this is new, the entire comment section would just be filled with people correcting me and I would be feeling terrible. That would not be a fun comment section to read. But at least here I can see my mistake in real time and apologize in real time. Yeah, I got it wrong. Lauren says, yes, I'm a nurse. I like the idea that Lauren's on call at the moment right now. Also, to be doing things right now, but hiding in a cupboard watching video game streams. I love that. Nurses especially have to do so fucking much and so under-respected and undercredited. Anyway, all right, come on. During your time in Castoria, you'll stumble upon a new yet familiar creature that calls this island home. Wave hawks. That's new, right? Definitely. Otherwise known as skimmers in Elonian local parlance, they are members of both sea and sky. They've adapted to the island's rich energies, and when tamed, they become a valuable asset for those attempting to survive. Look how high, that looks like it's really high in the air, but it's not. It's really far out in the water. And I'm actually quite interested in how naked and open the seas are there, which I like. I kind of like these things, by the way. I'm not much of a bug guy, but dragonflies are awesome, and that shit looks cool. And as I said before with the original announcement, the wings on skimmers and stuff just looks great, you know? I have the whale set up on list, but the hummingbird and stuff, oh, I've always loved those skins. Unlike the skimmers that reside in the deserts of Elona, these skimmers evolved in a setting rich with ley magic that runs through root and sand. This has turned the Wavehawks into highly mobile mounts that can navigate with ease and grace over all kinds of terrain, as well as boasting some new combat and exploration abilities. I'm very curious to see, you know, the Warclaw usurped everything for me. Warclaw is better than the Raptor, it's better than the Springer in 90% of scenarios, the Griffin in most scenarios. The Warclaw is just incredible. I wonder whether this will now, steal the crown from the Warclaw even. So we get 3 new abilities. One is called Aether Location, a pulsing sonar-like signal that detects nearby threats and enemies. While submerged, it also has the ability to detect hidden treasures throughout the waters of Tyria. So it's basically Warclaw Sniff, right? It's the Sniff mechanic back. I think some would be inclined to say that's lazy or whatever. Not me. I'm fine with that. I like that mechanic and the idea of like reformatting it into an aquatic sort of environment. I think that's cool. And the fact that you'll be finding the treasures maybe in 3 dimensions, yeah, I'm alright with it. Slipstream boost increases the base speed of the skimmer for a set duration. So it's like being able to boost, like how a roller beetle can boost. We'll get a skimmer boost. During this time, using hover also increases the vertical height gain past previous limits. See, that's where we're starting to be Warclaw, Skimmer, Griffin. Even it might even feel a bit sky-scaly. Water Jets commands the skimmer to fire a set of projectiles that damages enemies and heals allies. When it's held, the ability will continue to fire up to a max amount. See, now this I'm very interested in. The Water Jets, we saw that in the trailer, obviously. A bit of combat application. And I guess the stream was quite illuminating for this. Maybe I'll have to watch it after I've done this. I was really excited about the turtle and the idea of its combat applications. And then it just never really went anywhere, or not in the ways that I wanted it to. So hopefully this is fun. It might mean that the new expansion is filled with events and things where it's like break the wall, and you pick. Do you do it with your Warclaw with his chain? Do you do it with your turtle with his cannon? Or do you do it with your skimmer? Or sorry, what are they called again? Wavehawk with his water jet. I can see that, right? It'll probably be siege damage, if you will. PvE siege damage. And it's got a very pretty effect on it. It doesn't really look like a water jet. It looks like magic, but, you know, leyline energy and all that. Training the skimmer. Once unlocked, you'll learn to master his new abilities through your Castoran adventure. Lots of fun. Advanced hydrodynamics. Grant your skimmer the ability to dive underwater. For those who already had it, you'll increase the speed of the skimmer and get stealth when you dive in and out. I think stealth, splashing on and off of you as you descend and come up, is really genius. I think that'll look really good. I really do. Whether it will have much application anywhere in the game, I don't know. Castoran Intuition, and also that move speed boost, again, is going to be huge for... because the skimmer does feel a little bit slow these days. Unlocks the skimmer's ability to use Aether Location while also enhancing barrel roll. The enhanced version allows for multiple dashes without ever dismounting. So again, this was on the stream, wasn't it? So you can roll your boat gently down the stream. Now, what gates me there then? What stops me from just spamming it forever to spam barrier on people or whatever? I don't really know on that one. When it's held, the ability will activate its dismount point. So yeah, and if you, that's quite clever as well. That will feel good. So tap to just spin, hold to spin and drop. Convergent Evolution unlocks the Slipstream boost and the Water Jets. If you already had Ride the Wind trained, then you get more aerial ascent power while hovering. And finally, Riptide Rider grants your skimmer the ability to ride ley lines. So kind of like how the Skyscale got to ride ley lines 2 expansions ago, we get it again here. So kind of a mix of what, there's some things that the Warclaw got, like the sniffing, some things that the Skyscale got, and something totally new with the jets. Alongside these enhancements, all versions of the skimmer, regardless of mastery or acquisition method, will be getting base level updates. Players will be able to dismount the skimmer in midair and can mount in combat with no mastery. Oh, you don't need mastery for it. You can just get on one in combat. So hold on, don't you need a mastery for the others? So where are we going with that then? I wonder if that means next year it'll be Raptor. Raptor's going to feel so old and left in the dark. Isn't it? But what do I want from a Raptor? I would love a 2-person Raptor, I can tell you that. Can I, put lasers on the shoulders of my Raptor and have, combat? Oh, that one looks really good. Is that like a special skin we get? In Secrets of the Obscure, you obviously got the Demon Skyscale. So can we get a jellyfish version of one? With like a hidden quest at the end? And that's it. That was a short little blog post. So we really didn't miss much on that one, guys. That might explain why people weren't really clamoring for a video for it at the time. Weapon skills while on Raptor? Oh my god, yeah. I mean, look, it depends how... Let's use that word again. I do love it. It depends how transformative they're going to be, right? Itherhad says, nope, I believe next year will actually be the Sand Jackal, finally following up on the Shadow Army stuff at the end of Janthe Wild. Maybe, that's a good fit, actually, yeah, maybe. But the Jackals are Marganites. They've got nothing to do with Menzies. Oh, the jellyfish, that's just the pre-order skin. I see. That's actually pretty cool. Okay, I haven't been doing this. How little have I done this, guys? I have a link in my description if you're interested in buying VOE and you're going to get the bigger tier or whatever. That might actually... the jellyfish does look pretty good. I can put my endorsement on that, and that's not just self-interestedly trying to pay rent for myself. But I hope we get a quest as well. Did we get a quest for the Warclaw? Did we get a Warclaw variation? We did get a different Warclaw skin, right? There's the Warclaw, and then there's the Journeykin. Journeykin, it's different. The Journeykin, Janthe Wild's Warclaw is different to just the base Warclaw, which has the armor and is a bit more, So, but I guess that's the case anyway, isn't it? Because we'll be getting like a bug, like a dragonfly-looking one. No, but they are tied to the Realm of Torment. Menzies did some stuff in the Realm of Torment while collaborating with Abaddon, as Abaddon was trying to break out. But I'm not. My opinion on this is not definitive. But to my mind, that doesn't really mean that much. Like Doom was doing that as well. Doom collaborated with Abaddon. You could find, Doom's Driders and shit down there. There was a collaboration with the 3 evil gods. But Doom's realm is the underworld, and Doom's shit is all about the underworld. Menzies is the Fissure of Woe and so on. So I personally wouldn't connect Sand Jackals to Menzies in any way. Sand Jackals were Abaddon and Marganites and all of that. There wasn't really a connection, as far as I would say. But maybe there's a weird detail in there at the heart over at the Alkali Pan or whatever that says something else. Maybe. At Sand Jackal Run. Mingus mentioned. But I think you're right that they'll definitely move into that, if not this year, next year. It sort of feels like where it's going. God, the story is a complete Gordian knot of insanity right now, and I really hope that they can do a lot with the next expansion to fix up the ending for JW, because it wasn't very satisfying, was it? On the live stream today, they said they were going to use treasures. They were going to add treasures to Quarteria to use the new treasure sonar on. Nice. Does that include Warclaw sniffing? At all? That would be interesting to see. Well, there you have it, guys. I think that's going to have to be it for today. Can I just say thank you to everyone who made it. Again, I mentioned earlier, I haven't got a very good schedule going on. There will be more stuff coming up very soon as we do Oblivion October. If there was more news today, we'll look at that. Halloween starts coming up very soon, I think. We got the roll into VOE. We got lots of streams, all kinds of stuff going on. So thank you very much for watching. Thanks for the chat, guys. Thanks for the subs. A couple of people donated today as well, which is really nice. It's been very, very nice of you all. I got to jump off really because I only have 40 minutes now to practice Scourge before I'm going to go raid. And I'm not going to be very good at it, I'll tell you that. You just got here. Yeah, every single time I close any stream ever, there's always someone that says, but I just got here. Oh, Halloween is in. Oh, yeah, maybe the patch happened while I was streaming here, actually. Maybe when I leave Lion's Arch, it will move on. So there you go. Go rest my throat and kidneys. Indeed, Boots. And by the way, Boots has been talking to me. He's got some fun ideas as well. So hopefully we'll have some content together very soon. Just as soon as I cleared my deck. And yeah, we can get on with that stuff. So thank you, everybody. I hope you had a nice time. I certainly did. Thank you for listening to me talking about Stellaris and the coding I did earlier in the week. Your response on that was really nice. And if anyone wants to leave any thoughts on anything we talked about today in the comments, let me know. Thank you, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.